Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we discuss all the latest in pop culture news. That includes uh, celebrities, Hollywood, even a bit of politics, pop culture, video games, movie reviews, TV reviews, all of that right here on this show in this kind of cool late night discussion. And as usual, I am Price of Reason, and with me I have my co host, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
Doing well. It's been a very interesting. We had our election coverage on Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning, and hey, today Alyssa Mercanti quit Kotaku.
I mean, quit is a strange word. I kind of, I'm thinking to myself that maybe there was more to it than that.
Was
And well,
fired from Kotaku.
right, it sounds more like something that she'd be fired from. But regardless of what the circumstances, her being out of Kotaku is a positive thing. For
Yeah,
that are not aware, Kotaku is a quote unquote gaming journalism type of publication
quote
that has
unquote.
spread, in my opinion, lies. So many lies especially over the past maybe year. Just crazy agenda peddling and weird mental gymnastics and attacking customers and gamers and things like that. So uh, it's strange because so many things are happening outside of gaming, but even in gaming, that this Alyssa Mercante lady she would no longer be a part of that publication. It also maybe it shows that the times are changing not only in politics, but maybe also in entertainment and also in gaming and pop culture in general. And maybe that's some of the things that we can discuss here tonight. How Trump's win could possibly influence everything that we're seeing around us, even beyond politics.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely. I think we're well. We will have lots of things to talk about, but one of the things I think that we've seen, and I think is heavily in evidence now, is the death of celebrity. Celebrity doesn't matter anymore. Nobody
Right.
cares. Nobody cares what they have to say, what they do as far as endorsements and stuff like that. People don't care. It doesn't matter
I
anymore.
mean, yesterday I tweeted this. I don't know if you saw it. You probably did, but let me see if I can share it. That I tweeted this, and actually I got some good responses from it. Uh, that Let me see if I can do the presentation here. I wrote, "Did you know these ladies aren't as important as they thought they were?" And in case you don't see the ladies, you got Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Lizzo, and Cardi B, and these were some of the big names that Kamala Harris had in her campaign. They kept kind of really uh, emphasizing the type of star power she brings. And sometimes she even did events that people thought that they were going to perform there. So they're like, "Hey, I'll go see this Kamala Harris event. Maybe one of these ladies will perform there." But what I think that the media, Harris and a lot of the other people didn't understand, it's what we understand. Yeah, maybe they'll see them singing, and if there's a free concert, they'll go to it. But the fact that one of these ladies may vote for one person or another, that doesn't mean that your average American is going to just see what they vote and then immediately fall into line. I mean, these ladies all have made a ton of money. I would say that at least three out of the four, have made it on music that I think is like. Let's put it this way: I think that Beyonce has some talent, maybe a little more than the
Yeah,
other three,
yeah,
maybe a little more than the other three. But honestly, I mean, it's not like I sit around and listen to any of this. Taylor Swift for me, maybe I would say she's a hard worker. Like I'll give her that, but her father bankrolled her career from like the age of zero, and he had the money and means to do that. She was basically kind of groomed to do this. It's fine. I mean, if that's what a father does and he puts the money, it's fine. But and she's a hard worker. She has a work ethic. But honestly, what her music, like, what is there anything that really is so special about her music? In my opinion, no. And Cardi B and Lizzo. Cardi B for me, that just sounds like I don't know. I guess there's somebody that wants to listen to that and enjoy it, and I can't judge them if they like it. But really, I don't see the appeal there.
yeah.
Uh, I'd say I'd say that out of the four, at the bottom of the pyramid, bottom of the barrel is like Cardi B for me. Then maybe uh, Lizzo maybe plays the flute or something.
Oh my
So
God. Lizzo. Oh,
Lizzo. I mean, if I had to choose which one is better, okay. So the bottom of the barrel is Cardi B, then Lizzo, then I guess Taylor Swift, and then like in the first place is Beyonce. But none of these ladies are women that I want to hear who they're voting for, and then I'm going to go
no,
run and vote for whatever they're voting.
no.
Even if it was a band that I did like, even if it was like, the Beatles in their prime or Led Zeppelin, and one of them said, "Hey, I want to vote for this guy," I don't really care. That it doesn't influence me in any way. I mean, these ladies all have a lot of money. Beyonce is basically, along with her husband, they're billionaires. I think Taylor Swift probably is around that kind of billionaire club as well. I would say that Lizzo and Cardi B may not be billionaires, but they certainly are not in the poorhouse. The fact that they're standing around and talking about like their groceries and whatever, it really doesn't come off as it's very disingenuous.
Hmm. Yeah,
And I don't
absolutely.
know if you remember, Cardi B was like reading off the phone,
Oh
and
yeah, no, the teleprompter broke, and so she couldn't keep talking. They had to bring her a phone
right, she
to
doesn't know
so
what to
she could keep
say.
reading her stuff because none of it was genuine. And I think that's part of the story here is that I think, it's been said, I don't know who coined the phrase off the top of my head, but that authenticity is the currency of our new generation now, that being authentic actually means something to people. It's actually important to them, and that they can perceive when people are being authentic, they're genuine, and when they're not. And I think that that's impacted a lot of what we've seen culturally going on in this past year, in these past few months, that celebrities do not come off as genuine anymore. They're these shaped, formed, you know, people that have had, all of these different committees tell them who they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to wear and how they're supposed to do things, and they're not real people anymore.
No, they don't act like real people. And with Cardi B, there was something, I'm trying to remember the quote that she's like, "Groceries are expensive even for me." It's
Yeah.
like, lady, you have $100 million or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
What do you
So
mean even for
stupid.
you? The
So stupid. Yeah.
groceries are not expensive unless like you eat 5,000 eggs a day. Even then, I
Exactly.
think it
Yeah.
wouldn't put a dent in her wallet. Like
Yeah.
unless you're eating 100,000 eggs a day, I don't think that grocery is expensive for you.
Yeah.
And
Like, well,
she,
gas costs a little bit more, big deal. It's like, yeah, well, guess what? For some people, it is a big
it
deal.
is a
You
big
want to go
deal.
to somebody who's on subsistence living. They're working two jobs to be able to pay their rent and put gas in their car and put their kids through school, whatever. And they're barely making it from, month to month. The price of a tank of gas to them is crushing. To you, it means nothing. It's pocket change, right? You can't tell me that, oh, well, it costs a little bit more, big deal. I have to pay big prices too. No, you do not. You don't.
One of the things that one of the things that amused me is that I looked at the kind of celebrities that Harris had. She had these, I personally don't listen to their music. They're not of interest to me, but they do have large followings and money and whatever. She had the Avengers. That is a cast of actors that a lot of people know and like. Uh, she had a lot of people in her corner, all these kind of Hollywood celebrities and whatever.
Mhm.
Trump, beyond the fact that he had like people that are maybe in pop culture are important, but when it comes to like celebrities, what did he have? Like Hulk Hogan? It was basically Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan, Hulk Hogan versus like all of Hollywood. And you know what?
Ooh.
Hulk Hogan won. All you needed was Hulk Hogan to come up and say, I love
Tear
Trump. And like,
tear his shirt
that's
off and have a Trump shirt on
rip,
underneath.
rip his shirt off. He's like, that's my president. And then like he walked away, and that's all you needed. I'm like, she had
It's too good.
70 million
It's too good.
celebrities and none of them mattered.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, really.
Yep. Yep. I mean,
Do you
it's
agree
just
that like
so.
Hulk Hogan,
Oh,
like
yeah. I
right
thought he
now,
was hilarious.
right now, if I'm doing like celebrities, and it's like, how in a sports game there's like two teams and you have like a score. It's basically Hulk Hogan 1,
one.
all of Hollywood
All of
0.
Hollywood 0, yep.
That's what I understand here. Oh, that's all like it's like on the roulette. You're playing roulette. You had one ship. You put it on one place. You got Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
That's it. I can't even.
Yeah.
Who else did he have there? Who else did he have except for Hulk Hogan? I'm trying to remember. And I'm not talking about
Oh.
Elon Musk and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was not a lot of people from Hollywood they're backing. I mean, there are some traditional conservatives. I think when we were watching the
Maybe
coverage of
like
that, we saw, like,
Zachariah Levi, whatever
yeah,
his name
Zach
was,
Levi was one who did come
Gina
out.
Carano. But
Gina
like,
Carano.
though these are these kind of people that have been outcasted. They're not even.
Exactly. They're
Don't get me wrong. I like those guys.
in
You know,
Hollywood.
Gina Carano is a really nice lady, and I really like her. And I
Yeah.
like the fight that she's putting up against Disney, and I like what she stands for. But I'm just saying, like, he had people that Hollywood kind
Yeah.
of was trying to get rid of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're trying to
Yeah.
get rid of Hulk
Well,
Hogan.
did you see the exchange that Zach Levi had on X yesterday?
I
Like, had an
saw
exchange
something.
with Gina Carano. So there was somebody basically that said, "I hope you like being an outcast. Hope you like being thrown out of Hollywood because you supported this monster or whatever." And he came back and said, "Yeah, I'm fine with it. I knew that was probably going to happen, and that's okay. I've got a nice nest egg. I'm well taken care of, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to, be part of independent projects, and I'm going to go out and help build a new Hollywood that respects the people of this nation and, produces independent pictures and whatever. And that's what I'm going to do." And Gina Carano popped in, making a comment on his thing saying, "That's awesome. It sounds like you're in a good place. And I'm glad to hear that there's other people who are, ready to go out there and make new pictures and make a new Hollywood to replace this dying thing, whatever." I mean, it was a really sweet little exchange between the two of them,
Hey,
especially,
maybe they can do something together.
why the hell not? Right. I mean,
I think it's time. It's time to have this kind of alternative system to Hollywood, and just have regular people making movies. And maybe there's so many ways to make movies today. Technology is in a different place than it was before, and I think that with more modest budgets, if there's good storytelling and there are good ideas, there's certainly a lot of good projects that you can put together. So I don't think that Hollywood has the same kind of stronghold as they did in the past. And yeah, I agree with you. These elections really showed. We've known this for a long time in our circles here on the internet and the kind of reporting we do. We've known for a long time that these Hollywood celebrities, they don't influence us.
Yeah.
And we felt that their poll wasn't what they thought it was. But
Yeah.
this is the first time that I think that they really got a slap in the face
Yeah.
from the public.
Well, I wouldn't be the professor if I didn't actually show you some data from time to time. So I'll show you this here that I found. Oh, well, it didn't. Oh, did it share? Yeah, I think you'll have to swap it.
Oh, I have to swap it. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. So this is some data that was brought in by an NBC News poll. So this is not like some, specifically Republican thing or Trump thing or whatever. This particular poll that was done basically said, look, has let me see if I can switch windows here. Oh, sorry, this one was not from NBC. This one was from YouGov. But basically, there's 4 categories here, and the first one here is, since you can't kind of read it past our heads here, the first one says, "A celebrity has caused me to reconsider my opinion on a political issue." Democrats, all respondents 6. So average of all respondents 11% there. Higher on the Democrat side, lower on those reported as Republicans, just 6%. A celebrity encouraging me to vote has caused me to vote. Again, almost no response whatsoever. 13% on Democrats, 5% Republicans. And then a celebrity endorsement has caused me to support a candidate. Again, almost exactly the same. Barely any response here. And then this last one, a celebrity's position on a political issue has negatively affected my opinion of him or her. Averaged of 51%. So for celebrities going out and making these endorsements, this is a risky proposition, as it says here in the headline for this little infographic here. There's a good chance half of your audience is going to say, I don't like you anymore, and walk away. That's pretty risky. I think some people like Chris Pratt were wise to just sit it out.
I mean, I've actually worked with, with some celebrities in the past as part of my job, I guess, or work that I've done, that was sort of entertainment industry adjacent or whatever you want to call it. I don't know exactly what term best describes what I would do in the past, but I'd say that I've had several conversations with people that were kind of artists or people sort of in the public eye, and I suggested to them, I said to them, whatever your opinion is, don't bother your.
Oh, you're sharing your window there.
Oh, sorry, I am.
Oh, I closed mine accidentally, so you're
Oh, okay.
sharing your X there.
Oh no, all of our secret correspondence.
Ah,
What?
talking about
Sorry.
the boob lady. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh
Oh,
boy.
I feel terrible, terrible. This is awful. This is awful.
Oh, that one's
Oh,
on me. I closed the window on you before you knew it.
yes, that was a surprise.
Ah.
Nobody would know what we're
No.
talking about.
No idea. Nobody knows what we're saying.
Nobody knows.
No, but yeah, for celebrity endorsements, yeah. I mean, as we just saw, I mean, and again, I don't think I've seen this. We've seen it in every presidential campaign, and we see it constantly with any other number of things. I mean, we're going to keep seeing it. There's going to be this bill or that proposal or this thing or whatever. We're going to keep seeing endorsements like this, but it's really interesting to actually see like some real data about celebrities saying, people don't actually care.
Right. Uh, so back to what we were. I feel like we were talking. There's so many things to talk about,
Oh yeah.
but we were saying about the celebrities and the negative effect. Oh yeah, I was telling you that. I'll give you an example. Green Day at some point did a concert, and they started doing something that if you voted for this guy, if you like this guy, they want to leave the country. You're not their fan. You're not this. You're not that. And I knew a musician that works sort of in the industry, and I told him, don't ever do that. You know what I mean? And the person actually listened to me. I said, whatever your opinions are, the people that are coming to see you perform somewhere, they're not coming because they want to hear about all this shit. You know what I mean? Nobody cares. Nobody cares who you voted for or what you like or what ideologies you like. If there's some songs and some music that they came to listen to, that's why they came to the show. And it's so important to remember that. I think that a lot of these people, it's really the ultimate kind of living in your bubble and being like full of yourself and condescending. Uh, all the things that you seemingly are describing yourself not as or that you don't like, you're actually the biggest offender when it comes to these kind of things. Once you're alienating your audience like that, and
Mhm.
look no further than Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill that was
Absolutely.
attacking people,
Mhm.
saying that people that voted for Trump can go force themselves, and he has no shame asking people for money for his autograph and all that kind of stuff. Uh, he really has very very crappy behavior, and at the end, you know, Trump
Uh,
won. I mean, all of
yeah.
his nonsense, everything that he said, it's worth nothing. He went to the White House. He told him the Force was with him. He was playing Star Wars music at the Democratic National Convention, hanging out with them with like lightsabers, using basically the persona of Luke Skywalker, a character he didn't create himself, to actually peddle an agenda that he wanted, and none of that helped.
Nope. Nope. I
None
mean,
of it helped, no
it's
matter what he
it,
did.
and again, I think he's ruined his reputation. It's gone. I think there are a massive number of people who don't care one way or the other if they ever see him on screen again. Uh, it- they're ready to move on.
I'm
You know,
ready to move on. I mean,
yeah.
he is so
Recast,
annoying.
recast Luke Skywalker. Let's just
He
get
is
it
so
done and
annoying that he
move on.
somehow managed to make something that everybody liked. He was so beloved. He had to do nothing. When you're an actor, when you're an entertainer in life, you can only hope to have that kind of aura that Mark Hamill had as Luke Skywalker, this sort of icon that everybody just saw and was so happy to see. Like up until a number of years ago when he went all TDS with Trump and all that stuff, I think that he was so positively viewed. I think that he was really well regarded, well respected. I didn't know anybody that had half a bad word to say about the guy.
Yeah.
And now I think that like nobody can stand him. And this isn't a matter of only that he likes maybe a certain brand of politics and maybe not everybody likes it. It's how aggressive he is and annoying he is about it. It's like, and in the past he's like, yeah, I'm annoying because it's very important that I contribute, that I save society. You're not saving anything. You're a guy that has millions of dollars, that you played a character in a movie. The fact that you played a character in the movie doesn't mean that there's anything special about you beyond that. You should be very grateful that you got this type of iconic role. Embrace that. Be nice to your fans, which are basically your customers. Don't insult them. And whatever your personal opinions are, you're not helping save the earth. You're not helping save the environment. Nobody cares about your crap.
Nope. Yeah, and well, we're seeing. I'm surprised we didn't get a Mark Hamill screaming in his car video, but
I mean, he's a little smarter than that, so
I
I
suppose
guess
he's got a little bit of dignity left.
right. So basically, somebody here says, FKHC 2005, do you think Biden is going to resign just to have Kamala be the first female president, just so she can say she was the first female president? I think that a lot of people have been speculating if that's the case. I also got some DMs from Istophobos, a guy that I interact with here and there online, and even he was with us on a live stream on a Mr. Brown Alliance just recently. So he was texting me that he thought that basically the White House were going to try to Trump proof the White House, do all these kind of quick policies and executive orders and do a bunch of things that are kind of will be a nuisance for him when he arrives. He sent me some stuff. It doesn't really matter the details, but anything is possible. If they said tomorrow that she's the president, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not saying that they're going to do it, but if they did, nothing would shock me at this point. So
I'll be honest about it. I think that there's probably some people that will want that to happen. I don't think Biden wants that to happen. In fact, I think he can't stand Kamala Harris at this point. I don't think he likes her one bit. So I doubt he's going to willingly step aside to to let her be the first female president. He's going to step aside for a few months and whatever. I do think they probably are going to try. We've got Estephobos did give us a super chat on YouTube for $2 and a member of the channel. Thanks, Estephobos. It says Biden is trying to spend money and amnesty before Trump starts. Yeah, I'm that. You know what? Every administration does that. So I would not be surprised if they tried to ram through some stuff, at the last minute to make that happen. So I guess, well, again, this is just kind of a have to wait and see kind of thing. But yeah, I would expect them to do some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything is possible. Nothing would really surprise me. But where was I back when we were talking about those? Let me see if I can find it. We were talking about the celebrities. Let me see if I can.
And the different celebrities that were there, or
right. I mean, just it was a good picture to have. Let me just see.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Let me try to pull that back up. Are you okay? You're looking a bit pixely. I don't know if it's me or you.
No, I think everything's fine.
Okay, if I suddenly become pixely, let me know. In any case, right after this thing happened, first of all, you saw Taylor Swift. If you remember, she's like, I'm the cat lady, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what she was. After today, I have decided that I need to endorse Kamala, and I'm the cat lady, because she was taking a dig at Vance or whatever it was. I mean, Vance just made like half a comment. I think that they made it a much bigger deal than what it was. He was basically just, he was trying to make a point that a lot of times these people that are, have certain ideologies, they actually don't have kids. and that's why they don't care about certain issues. And I think that's what he was trying to say. Yet somehow they made this big deal about this cat lady thing, and like Taylor Swift like was trying to really stick it to him, which I think it meant nothing. And it's like you said with your graph. I even think that it's even worse. If I see a candidate and like Taylor Swift comes out and she's like hanging out, or Beyonce or whatever it is, that's like a negative for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and the funny thing is that Beyonce came, she like introduced her, said how great she was, and then she wouldn't perform a song, and you heard the crowd booing.
Oh
And
yeah,
that
they were
really also
pissed. They were ticked off. There was only one reason that they packed that arena the way they did, is because they thought they were going to get to see Beyonce perform.
they thought that
And
it was a
when she just
Beyonce
walked
concert.
up, spoke, and walked away,
Not even
oh
like 3
boy, they
songs. If
were
she
mad.
would have given 3 songs and they would have given like them a free 3-song thing with Beyonce, I think that they would have been more forgiving. She didn't even give 1 song. She didn't sing 1 note. She came, introduced her, and got out of there, and you never saw her again. And you know, when you saw Trump, most of the people that went to a Trump rally, they went to something called a Trump rally to see Trump. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This
They didn't
wasn't
show up to see Beyonce. They didn't show up to see Springsteen or anybody else.
No,
No.
Usher and all this stuff. They didn't go
Yeah.
see any of that. They didn't care about Cardi B or Lizzo or anything like that. Even Hulk Hogan that I mentioned, they didn't
Uh-oh.
go see Hulk Hogan. They wanted to see Trump. It happened to be the Hulk Hogan was there. That was like his one celeb. That was like the one that he scooped up. But I'm just trying to tell you that it wouldn't even matter. Not that I actually thought that Hulk Hogan was fine, but I'm saying it didn't even matter really. You know, all the people that came and supported him, it was fine, but I don't think that really moved the needle. When it comes to at least
No.
singers and actors and so entertainers. When it
Yeah.
comes to entertainers, I don't think that there's an entertainer that showed up for Trump that really like moved the needle. Anybody that wanted to see Trump at a rally, they came to see Trump. All the rest is like it's like Trump is their main course, and all these other people that I mentioned, they're like hors d'oeuvres. Now, perhaps the only thing you could say, and he's not really so much an entertainer. He's, you know, he interviews, he does a podcast. I say Joe Rogan, maybe you could say. Even that came late in the game. That didn't come on day one. And for
Yeah,
that, by the way, it's
it
not
was
that Joe
way in.
Rogan. It's also not that Joe Rogan showed up one day and said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to Trump," and then like he walks away like Beyonce. Trump actually came. First of all, Kamala got the invite from Joe Rogan, I think, first, and she
Mhm.
wouldn't agree to do a 3-hour interview with him. She wouldn't agree to fly in to meet with him. She wanted to set all these weird terms because her and her people were worried that, you know, she wouldn't be able to even, you know, perform in an interview with
Yeah.
him.
Well, I mean, he said in one of his after shows, they were talking about it, and he said, like, yeah, basically, we said, hey, you're here in Texas, come on by, let's have a conversation for a while. Wherever it fits, 9 in the morning, 9 at night, 3 in the morning, whatever. I don't care. I'll sit here and chug Red Bull if I have to. You know, come on over. We'll do it. We'll make it happen. And they just nope, not going to do it. And I think a lot of us understand why. They were quite certain that she couldn't make that happen. She couldn't do it.
I think that they were certain that she couldn't do it, but at the end of the day, Trump showed up. He sat there 3 hours. He actually like was schmoozing with them. It was a moment that Trump needed sort of to step up because it was an important interview, and I think that he really needed to show a side of him to people that maybe were undecided. That actually did matter, and when it did matter for him, he showed up. When she went to Fox News to do that interview, it was a disaster. When he went to Joe Rogan to do his 3 hours with him, I think he did fairly well. He did better than I expected him to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, like I'm
And
saying,
then
it's not that Joe Rogan just made it easy for him. He didn't just come up and do like, oh, white dudes
no.
for Trump or I don't know
Yeah.
what. He didn't do any of these kind of weird things. He actually did his job interviewing him. So it's not exactly the same. People were saying like Dana White and Bryce, whatever. These guys weren't any kind of big endorsers. Yeah, Dana White, but Dana White is like a businessman, you know, more than anything. you could say that he's, tied to the entertainment industry, but he's more of a businessman than anything else, and one that's known Trump for years. It's not somebody like Cardi B that suddenly pretends to be Harris's friend, and somebody gives her a phone to speak. Like, Dana White knows Trump, has known him for years. They also know each other kind of on a business level. So there's sort of a bond between that, but beyond that, it's not just some random guy supporting him. And the Bryce thing, I don't think that moved the needle either. He was not counting on these people to move the needle. They were nice as a supplement.
Mhm.
Whereas Harris, all she had was to try to get people to her rallies by like flashing like celebrities in their face.
Yep. Yeah, it's very strange. Yep. Oh, now we're seeing you texting Sean.
Oh no.
You just unshare your screen. Or here, I'll share something else here. Yeah.
You share something else. Why do I keep sharing the screen?
Yeah, I think it's just been up there, yeah, because you were just on X.
Ugh.
Let me see here. What was I going to say? I think another big thing that has really been brought to a lot of people's attention. I think it was obvious to a lot of us already, but the trust in news. The trust in American news sources, specifically national news organizations, has plummeted over over the last few years. So this is a survey. This one was done by Pew, so this is a pretty respectable organization, and this was done. The bar on the left is 2016, April of 2016. The bar on the right is September of 2020. So this is the percentage of people who said that they trust information from national news sources. And if you see on the Democratic leaning, I'm sorry, the bar on the left bar is trust in the sources. The right bar is trust in social media sites. I said that wrong. So from 2016 to 2024, trust has dropped by 5%, while trust in social media sources has gone up by 2%. For right-leaning, dropped by 30%. So in 2016, this was 83-70. Now it's 78-40. 40% of right-leaning people trust national news organizations, and that's all national news organizations, right? And then as far as all U.S. adults, that averages out to a 22% drop in trust, and that's a 5% increase and a 3% increase there for trust in social media as somewhere to get news. So that is, that's amazing, right? We're talking about like the loss of, celebrities not being popular anymore, right? Not being able to affect people's vote, affect people's opinion on different issues. But the the news, I think they got a huge wake up call too. They're irrelevant now. They don't matter. They spent the last 3-4 months trying to tell us, well, not technically, I guess the last 8 years, 9 years, telling us how evil Donald Trump was. and how he's the mustache man, and he's going to do all these terrible things, and
it's crazy.
He's in cahoots with Russia, and
they tried pushing so many narratives, and especially in the last few months. And when people ask me, I'll tell you the truth. When we were looking at it and we did our shows, we tried to be kind of objective, even looking at the debate, look at the different, strategies. And we were really over the past month or two highlighting how we thought that he was making the right decisions, whereas she was not really performing well. That's how we felt when we saw it. But the reason why, when people asked me, I kept saying, it seems close, because I wasn't sure what kind of role the mainstream media, the legacy media, would play in this election. I suspected that Elon Musk buying Twitter was going to play a role here, that I think that there were other, it was able to dispel a lot of these mainstream media narratives. But at the same time, I still thought to myself, there must be a lot of people that still watch the mainstream media, that still listen to it and believe everything it tells them to. And I just wasn't sure what the balance was. And I feel like this election really showed that there's been a shift in power, not only when it comes to politics, but the way people even get their news, consume media. This is it. It's a game changer, I think.
It really is. It's amazing how much they didn't matter,
They
right?
didn't matter. Not
How
all of
much?
Hollywood. Basically, in order to win this election, Trump basically had Elon Musk. At the end, he had like Joe Rogan. He had like Dana White and Hulk Hogan. These were his big stars. And yeah, along the way, he scooped up from the Democrats like RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. But basically, he didn't have all. They had a million things. It's like it was as if it was him against the whole world, really. And he did manage to bring a few people around him, but seemingly, if you looked at it on paper, and especially in the reality prior to this election, they had everything. They had everything, the Democrats, everything that they seemingly needed to win this. It was all in their corner. And until the last moment, even all these polls of like, oh, it's close and whatever, I didn't want to say that I was surprised that it was close, but I said maybe it is close. Maybe people still watch the mainstream media and really believe the Hollywood celebrities. But you know what? It's not the case anymore. A guy that they basically have already arrested. They said he was a felon. They said all this stuff about him. And at the end, and people were saying, oh, he's an Islamophobe. He doesn't like Latinos. I don't know what. At the end, Latinos were like his biggest base.
Yeah,
Like,
they were. I mean, he extended his lead in essentially every single demographic, everyone
women, they
across
said, "Oh, women
across.
will never vote for him. Women will never vote." That's they kept saying. Women, white women. He had like a majority. Like he
Oh yeah,
had
a big majority.
big
I think it
majority
was
of
nearly
white women,
60%.
white men, Latino women. He didn't have a majority, but he was close to it. It was almost like a 50%. He got close to having at least half of them, which considering what people said about him, they're Latinos and women, you'd think that they wouldn't like him. But no, he actually had a lot of those. At the end, even black men, which I guess in the past was a significantly smaller number, he had 20 or 20 something percent, which even that is considered like a surprising achievement. The fact that there were actual black men voting for him, in spite of all of the propaganda that you saw in the mainstream media, it's almost inconceivable. And then at the end, the only group that Harris had that was like her big win was black women. Only 7% of them voted for Trump.
Mhm.
That was like Kamala's big win. But you know what? That's not enough to win anything, I guess.
Nope, no, and
And you can't even come and say, oh well, when it was against Clinton, a lot of people were telling me afterwards, oh, but he didn't win the popular vote. First of all, I never even know what people want with that thing. If the popular vote was what mattered, then you want to get the popular vote. Really, it's just like a little anecdote, the popular vote. But because they love that anecdote so much, the fact that he won not only the electoral one, but also the popular vote, it just shows that like they don't even
mhm.
have that argument. They have no argument. He got all the swing states. He got everything.
Yeah. And I think really, in the end, like we said, none of these, celebrity endorsements seem to matter. Nothing the mainstream media seem to be peddling, and none of that seemed to matter. None of it seemed to stick. And I think all of it just comes back to people just looking at their own situation, looking at where they are, and whether they're able to put food on the table. It all comes back to that. It was actually James Carville who's gone completely off the rails. He's a complete kook now. But he coined the phrase, "It's the economy, stupid." You probably have heard that, many times. Uh, Share one more thing with you here. Um, this is a poll. Raise that up just a little bit so you can see it. Um, this poll was done in 10 key states, over 20,000 interviews. It was done by NBC News in their national election polling. So this is what voters told them. Do you think the nation's economy is excellent or good? On the left, 91%, 31% of respondents, but 91% of them said yes. But that was only 31% of the total response. Not so good or poor, nearly 70%, 68% said that. And of those respondents, 70% of those were people who lean Republican. So people stood up and said, my life is not better today. You can see the other votes compared to 4 years ago. How's your family's financial situation? Better today? Only 24%. About the same, 30%. Worse today, 46%. And those were overwhelmingly people who said that they lean Republican. So you can see exactly why you saw so many people from so many different backgrounds and so many different, economic, areas like turning up to vote. And it's because their lives have not improved. Things have gotten worse for them over the last 4 years. So, I mean, when you look at that, it's obvious. It's obvious why Trump would have won, right?
I mean, even before the last election, and this is really an interesting thing because I think that somehow I always remember this, and I feel like even though it's just one example, I know we said that the celebrities and whatever, I don't really, care for their opinion anyways, but I do like this specific celebrity, what he said, because I thought he was being honest at least. At least he was being genuine. 50 Cent, I think before the last election, they asked him, oh, who are you voting for? Something like that. And he said that he was voting for Trump. And then they said, oh, isn't he like an islamophobe? Doesn't that bother you? And then he said, he said something along the lines of, I don't care if he's an ist, like I only care about my bank account or something like that. And it seemed like a very kind of weird comment, but the truth is, in that specific case, I think that a lot of people, that's just what they think to themselves. With all due respect, with all the saving the whales and putting like somebody wrote in the chat here, tampons in the boys' bathroom and all this weird stuff, all of that doesn't matter to everyday people. At the end of the day, what they want is they want to just have, stuff be affordable. They want the economy to be good. In their opinion, just based on the Trump's tenure, it seemed like there were less trouble at the border. It seemed like there was the economy was doing better. And at the end, that's really what interests people. All this other stuff, it's nice as a supplement. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
at the end, people don't really care if they like him personally or they don't like him personally. There are things that are just very important to people that have to do with their survival. And I think that a lot of these Hollywood celebrities, they couldn't be more disconnected from it. I think that generally people that have like $100 million and above, they shouldn't be the people that are lecturing anybody about anything.
Yeah.
Now, somebody like Cardi B, when Elon Musk said, oh, this lady, she's like a puppet because she couldn't read, she had to read from her phone, and she, made a fool of herself. She's like, Elon, I was raised by immigrants. Like, what are you talking about? How dare you say that? And this and that. And it's just like, even if when you were young, you were an immigrant or whatever it is that you're babbling about, you've had millions and millions and millions of dollars for a very long time. You're no longer living, you're not living on the street,
Yeah,
you act like I would argue that in her case, she acts like somebody that lives on the street, maybe.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, talks about this and
Her
that, and
manners,
whatever,
maybe,
and
yeah, but
and you say, hey, and Cardi, how many men did you drug and rob when you were working
right,
as
and
a
that was the
lady
thing
of the
that
night?
really, I mean, the hypocrisy there. They're like, oh, he's a felon. He once touched a woman 30 years ago. I don't know what they say. Meanwhile, this Cardi B, as opposed to like, let's say him, she flat out went and told the paper that back in the day she would drug men, that she would put them to sleep, then rob them and run away. And I was talking about this with Erwin at Nerd Wars and the Angry Badger. I think I was talking with them, or maybe this was also with the Gooch. Anyhow, what happened is that I was saying that imagine some of these men that she put to sleep. She wasn't there when they woke up. What if she gave them a big dosage of
What
putting
if
them
they
to
didn't
sleep?
wake up? Yeah, who
Yeah,
knows?
what if one of them didn't wake up? We wouldn't even
knows?
know. She doesn't know either. It's like This you're the moral compass. You said that you put men to sleep like by drugging them, leaving them who knows where, and stealing stuff from them. And you're lecturing to other people about what what life decisions they should be making. I think that if like you go out and you say this, and she was really proud when she went and she told these stories about how she drugged men and stole from them. I think that if that's in your background, maybe you don't get involved in this whole political thing. Maybe it's not for you.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean, how's it going, by the way?
He just sort of showed up and just been nodding in the background while we go on.
I'm still confident that Kamala can turn this thing around.
You think? Yeah. They're going to find those 15 million votes that
15 million
suddenly
votes
appeared in 2020 and then didn't show back up in 2024. They're going to find them.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm actually more surprised that it turned out the way that it did. I'm shocked that we are still able to have elections.
I was looking at there's another infographic I was looking at earlier today, kind of showing those different numbers and comparing them, over the past, the electorate over the past 7 or 8 elections, going, yeah, that does look extremely fishy.
By the way, there's a few super chats that I want to highlight here.
Oh, okay.
First of all, I'm trying. Oh, I can't highlight it. Okay. Istophobos for $2 says Biden trying to spend money and amnesty before Trump starts. Yeah, that's possible.
Yep.
Could be doing it. The Dead Man said, I can't stick around, but I'm glad for you. I'm glad, and I'm kind of sorry you didn't stick around, the Dead Man, if you're already not here anymore.
Yes, but thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you both
for $1.99 and $2, both of those.
Yep. Yeah, both of those for $2. Istophobos $2, and then the Dead Man $1.99. I still thank you very much. It's so weird. Never mind. In any case, what was I going to say? So that's on. That's a few super chats we had. So thank you for those super chats. We genuinely appreciate them. And then where were we? Oh, okay. Now I know that. I think that out of all the celebrity meltdowns today, the biggest one, it has to be the biggest one, was Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh my goodness! Yes,
Jimmy Kimmel.
I mean, some of them were all cringeworthy, but Jimmy.
No,
Kimmel
but he was like a level of embarrassing that like I as a man, I'm still embarrassed just by seeing that.
The tears building up in his eyes and the quivering chin.
And actually, nobody appreciated it. But like here, a lot of people kind of only showed the part that he was, crying at the end. But I actually, in my post, showed a little bit of the build-up.
That's what I saw first, was your post, and I was like, is he actually crying? And then I looked at your comments, and someone was like, is he crying?
He absolutely is. Let's see if I can share this screen. It's so embarrassing.
It is something else.
It really is. Okay, I'm putting it on.
We had the choice between a prosecutor and a criminal, and we chose the criminal to be president of the United States. More than half of this country voted for the criminal who's planning to pardon himself for his crimes. I guess this election wasn't rigged. That's weird, though, right? I mean, he said it would be rigged. He said it was being rigged while people were in line voting. Isn't it remarkable that this time the fix wasn't in? Last time the Democrats cheated. This time we chose not to, I guess. I don't know. Now, this Donald Trump is like the emperor from Star Wars. He's old, he's evil, and he keeps coming back with no reasonable explanation whatsoever. One minute I'm watching these long lines in every city, and I think, oh, that's beautiful, democracy in action. Next minute, there's a reporter chatting with some bro at Arizona State who said he voted for Trump because Kamala didn't go on Joe Rogan's podcast. And I'm like, where did I leave my passport? Overall, the voting itself went relatively smoothly, despite a number of bomb threats that were called and emailed into heavily Democratic precincts in Georgia, Arizona, and Michigan. Authorities say they seem to have originated in Russia. You could tell the Russians are running out of ideas when they're trying to disrupt our elections now, using the same tricks kids in the 80s used to get out of PE. But the rest was not great. Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate, for science, for journalism, for justice, for free speech. It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet. And
didn't he say that 4 years ago? Like when,
oh, yeah, I'm sure.
The beginning of Trump.
He's got such massive TDS. It's unbelievable.
He sounds like he was crying before all of that.
Oh, I'm sure he was. He's probably
completely
wept all
like
night.
Off the rails, this guy. And the thing is that you know, I was on a stream with Erwin and Angry Badger on Erwin's channel Nerd Wars, and he said something funnier when he's like, "This is the first time." I think he said, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, "This is the first time I've seen somebody cry for NATO." You know what I mean? Like in the middle of the thing, he's like, "And NATO," and he's
and our money launderers in Ukraine.
Right. I mean, come on. And I said this before and in a few places today that basically this guy used to be the host of a show called The Man Show. He would sit around with Adam Carolla. They drink beers. There were like women jumping around on trampolines. It was like complete like men, you know, catering to men. He was like that dude, and now he's sitting around and he's weeping for NATO. It's just like, you know, if I were him, I'd be embarrassed that like this is what my brand has become. I don't really know what to say. I mean, I think that I can't think of a word more than to say embarrassing. You know, probably there's worse words. You know, I saw in my feed that people were like commenting on this post that I posted. They said things that were worse than what I just said.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, and of course, he wasn't the only one. There was several other late night people. Of course, Colbert.
Let me see if I can. I want to see if I can find the Colbert one.
So many of these people just feel so evil to me anymore. So anytime I hear them speaking holier than thou, it gets under my skin so bad now. Like I can't stand the idea of an evil person using valid causes to try and shame people.
Let's see, is this crying? All these men are crying. What? Because they vote for Trump. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Oh yeah, there's just the one that he says the majority spoke. And
you know, I caught like I was actually watching a regular TV, and I saw a few minutes of Seth Meyers whining.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what he whines about.
Well, here we are, you guys. Donald Trump is now the presumptive GOP nominee for president again for a third time, despite the fact that he's a twice impeached, four-time criminal indictee and racist who's been found liable for fraud and sexual abuse, banned from doing business in the state of New York for 3 years, owes over $500 million in fine, took millions from foreign governments while he was president, tried to extort a foreign country to interfere in an election in 2020, and encouraged another to help him win in 2016, actively undermined the nation's response to a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, and let a deadly disease spiral out of control. It's about to go on trial for breaking campaign finance laws by paying hush money to cover up an affair during the 2016 campaign. Orchestrated a months-long coup attempt that culminated in a violent insurrection to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power and install him as an unelected dictator. Stole classified documents and obstructed attempts to get them back, has never once won the popular vote and has been routinely rejected by a majority of Americans in election after election. Spews deranged conspiracy theories about everything from climate change to immigration to vaccines to windmills, glitches on 3-syllable words, 2-syllable words, and 1-syllable words, cheats at golf. Can't spell his own name, his wife's name, or the words indicted, education, unprecedented, stolen, Denmark, Kentucky, or tap. And is, on top of everything else, the single weirdest and most off-putting human being on the face of the planet. And this is the same planet Ted Cruz lives on, so that's saying something.
Oh, this is old. I apologize. I don't even know when this is from.
Looks like it was posted on March 7th, but yeah, it was
Oh, I
posted a while
apologize for
back.
that.
But
So, okay.
No.
You know what? It's good that I played that because now I want to see what he said now. That was like what he said before, but how do I... Okay, let's do latest. Surely he must have said something. Oh, I can't believe he's so irrelevant that nobody even posted his stupid thing.
I did see some of it earlier today, so
Did I get his name wrong? Did I spell it wrong? Was it Seth like
No.
Mayers? What is this? Okay, is this it? Please tell me that this
years
is...
or 8 or 12. Well, Donald Trump has won the 2024 election and he'll be president again for 4 more years or 8 or 12 or whatever. We live in an infinite time warp where Donald Trump has always been and will always be the center of the universe. There can be no escape. All hail our powerful and benevolent supreme leader. Windmills do cause cancer. Hannibal Lecter was a lovely man. And if I'm lying, then Arnold Palmer doesn't have the biggest in the clubhouse. Me! Well...
Good grief.
Was there anything longer than that?
No, I think that's pretty much the same thing I saw.
I see. What's this thing? Let's see.
Yes.
No? Is it playing?
Can you hear it?
No,
I see.
I'm not hearing or seeing anything.
Oh, okay.
Did it pop up in a new tab? That's probably why. Oh, no audio.
Okay. Stop sharing. I won't burden us with too much Seth Meyers, but I'm just curious what his... You know what? It's funny that I played the previous one before the election because, like, he said all this stuff and he was so sure that, like, and he was saying, oh, he never won the popular vote. Well, guess what? This time he did win the popular vote.
Yep.
So all of what Seth Meyers was saying was basically irrelevant. It only highlights what these guys were blabbing before the election. And now... You know, let's see what
here. His campaign confirmed that he'll begin mass deportations on day 1. Trump allies promised to get revenge on their enemies. RFK Jr. is going after Fruit Loops, the cereal, not the people. He would never turn against his own. The Justice Department began winding down the criminal cases against Trump. Democrats descended into infighting and finger-pointing, and Donald Trump told a long, rambling story about leaving someone on hold for 45 minutes to watch what he thought was a movie, but turned out to be real life. So, yeah! America's back, baby. For more of this, it's time for a closer look. If you're one of the tens of millions of Americans who voted for someone other than Donald Trump on Tuesday, just know 2 things. You're not alone, and also your sadness is making some people very happy.
The liberal tears, they were flowing yesterday.
Liberal tears were pouring at Kamala Harris's very short-lived watch party.
I take my karma piping hot with a side of liberal tears. I'm so here for this.
If you're enjoying liberal tears, joke's on you. I've lost the ability to cry. It's a condition called the medical inability to lacrimate. And if you don't know what lacrimate is, I guess you haven't recently asked WebMD, why can't I cry? That's right. My doctors say my tear ducts are drier than a Joe Biden story about growing up in Scranton. I was a lifeguard. Yeah, no joke. They said I was the hairiest guy in the swimming pool. I'm not kidding around here. Also, is crying bad now? Because based on Donald Trump's stories, that's all people do when they come near him.
A man came up to me and he was crying. Strong man, big, tough guy, but he was crying. Steel workers came up to me and they were crying. 8 of them were crying.
The person came into the Oval Office and started to cry.
He had tears coming down his eyes.
Ron came to see me, tears in his eyes.
Men that were tough and strong, women that were tough and strong, they'd see me, their tears coming down their eyes.
A liberal came up to me, tears pouring down his bespectacled eyes, onto his shirt that says, love is love and science is real. And he said to me, Mr. Trump, sir, I'm crying because you suck. And I said, it's so true. But the libs aren't just crying. They're also promising to use their power in Congress to push back on Trump's excesses.
Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, the just re-elected Rhode Island
this
Democrat,
supposed to
who
be
is a
funny? I'm
member of
trying
the
to think
Senate
of what-
Judiciary Committee and the
this
chairman
like
of the
comedy?
Senate Budget Committee,
Yeah,
said in his
I
first
mean,
public statement since
supposedly-
More just
re-election.
seems like him being
He
sour
said,
and
this
salty.
election result
Yeah.
has changed the job description I was expecting. We
Like,
know
there's no
Trump's
even satire
character,
here.
so
I
the
don't
next
even-
Congress
there's no,
will
like,
be less
punchlines, really.
about pursuing
No.
progress than about containing the inevitable corruption of a second Trump administration.
Like,
Thankfully, it's not hard to contain Donald Trump. I mean, even when he dances, he only moves his arms. So conservatives are taking joy from liberal sadness, but hey, it's not all bad. Some people are doing really great after Trump's victory. You know, like the small town farmers and factory workers he promised help, and I'm just with you, it's rich dudes.
The fortunes of the 10 richest people in the world surged by a daily record yesterday after Donald Trump won second term as president. According to the Bloomberg Billionaire Index, the net worth of billionaires led by Tesla's Elon Musk surged by $63.5 billion. Among the other top gainers there, Amazon's Jeff Bezos, Oracle's Larry Ellison, and Berkshire's Warren Buffett.
This is really great news for Elon Musk. You know, maybe now he'll finally be able to afford a shirt that covers his entire stomach.
you know what this reminds me? That I don't know if they were talking with Joe Rogan, that like they were saying that now the new targets are going to be Musk and Vance, and I actually feel like that's what we're seeing play out right now. They're
As
all
if Musk wasn't already a target.
No,
I
he
mean,
was already a target, but now he's become even more of a target because they consider him a factor. With X, I think that they consider him at least somewhat responsible for a shift in something that he's done with his platform has caused a shift of sorts, and I'm sure that they know it and that they don't like it. They can't control him or his platform.
Oh no, they hate that they
in the
can't
past, they
control
basically
speech on X.
in the
It sticks in their craw. You heard people like Hillary talking about how, oh, you know, we can't, you know, we can't have this social media out there because we can't control it.
Yeah, they were talking about changing the First Amendment, and I was like, excuse me?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that we know very well how before Elon Musk bought X, how they would just manipulate the narrative. First of all, I don't know if people remember this. Back in the day, in the trending conversations and lists and things like that, initially, very early on Twitter, you had like a list of hashtags. But then what they did was they started featuring articles from the New York Times, from the LA Times, from the Washington Post. And then if there was a story and you wanted to know what people were talking about, you'd click on it and it would basically link you to an article in one of those kind of very extreme left publications. Basically, they wanted to explain to you the story the way they want to explain it to you. And if there was a topic that they didn't like that was discussed, Twitter would get a request to shut up about it or silence it or suppress it. Accounts like mine suppressed. You criticized a movie, you criticized a studio, whatever it is that they didn't like, they would just silence you. And sure, and you'd think that when it comes to elections, they wouldn't do that, but they did that especially with the elections and with that laptop story and all that stuff. So basically, this time around, they could do none of that. They simply lost the ability to do it. I mean, you know, people, when Elon Musk bought X, they said, oh, like, we're going to move to Mastodon. We're going to go to Threads. But nobody went to Threads or to Mastodon. Those things, they didn't hold.
Yeah, some fringe people went out and they're still on those things. Blue Sky, whatever. But
Sky,
man,
whatever.
You go
like
look at those and it's a mess.
If you go to the people that are on like Blue Sky, Mastodon, nothing personal. The people that are on Blue Sky, Mastodon, and Threads like regularly, and this is my personal opinion, are farts. That's who's on that. There's nothing to do on those platforms. I actually tried once. I'm like, okay, what is this? And I went and I looked at it and I'm like, this sucks.
I've never heard of Blue Sky.
This isn't where the action is happening. You want to know what's going on. There's nothing you can do. You know, it's just like Coca-Cola. I could start now a new company that does cola, but it's not going to be bigger than Coca-Cola because sometimes people know a name, they know a brand, and the brand recognition and the name recognition means something. Now, I know Elon changed Twitter to X, but everybody still knows that it's Twitter, even if it's called X. And that didn't hurt him. At the end of the day, people are going to that platform. That's the platform they're on. That's where they're going. That's where people are sharing the news. And any kind of attempt, even with the advertisers, what they tried to do when they tried to pull the advertising, do all that stuff, they couldn't get rid of him. It was really a unique situation. Only the richest guy in the world could have pulled that off, I think. In the sense that,
Quite
like,
possible.
he did it because even if he loses all that money, he's still very rich.
Yep. Yep. Well, there's an awful lot of rich people that have promised us. They've been very clear that they're going to be leaving the United States since Donald Trump has been
They
reelected.
say that every
and-
time. They never leave.
And
You
yeah,
know,
I really hope they keep their promise this time. Go
I'm
go
all
on up.
all for it.
Go to Colorado. Go to Canada.
I am all for it. As far as I'm concerned, they should go anywhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was what's his face, who said, "Oh, even in this thing," Jimmy Kimmel was like, "Oh, I was looking for my passport." Go find your passport. Leave.
Beat it. Just when you leave, just make sure that you renounce your citizenship. That's all I ask.
And you know what?
All I ask. I'll even help you pack. Just
you know what annoys me? Throughout my whole life, when somebody said, "Okay, there were elections, this guy's the president," doesn't matter for what party, because I'm sort of a middle of the road type of guy. But I'm saying anytime somebody said, "Oh, this president, this guy, this is the guy that's the president," you know what I'd say? I'd wish the person the best of luck. I'd say, "Well, I hope he does a good job," because you hope that the person will be a good president. You never really know what'll happen, but you can hope for the best, and that's usually what I do. If that's the president, that's the president. Even when Biden was, sworn in, even though I tend to agree that there were some issues with that election without getting into all the ins and outs of it. But when he was sworn in, they said he's the president. I said, well, I hope he does a good job. That's all I could say. You know what I mean? I don't sit around. I don't bring handkerchiefs or like cry about NATO. And I don't say that I will run away and leave the country and do all this stuff. I don't do any of that. I said, okay, well, I hope he does a good job. That's what a man does. You know what I mean? People with all their nonsense, they look so small, in my opinion. And the fact that a lot of the times it comes from these kind of rich Hollywood celebrities, I think that's even more pathetic. Most people would love to just have your money and like the kind of lifestyle you live. Just take your money, sit in your jacuzzi and shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Sorry, Sean.
You're apologizing to me?
I don't know. I used a bad word. Sorry, Professor.
You're good.
So yeah, I mean, I think that they don't need to lecture people, and now they seem very salty with Elon Musk. Let's see if there's anything else interesting here, even though Seth Meyers, it's not even funny. See, Jon Stewart, it can be annoying sometimes, but at least he can sort of here and there stick in a joke that's mildly funny. These other guys like Colbert and like Kimmel and now Myers, like they're not even funny.
You know, my man, take this lesson from a fellow nerd. Unless you got a six-pack, don't show us your abs. Whenever I take my kids to the beach, I wear one of those fake muscle shirts. And yeah, my kids make fun of me and I cry. Or I used to cry. Thanks, President Trump. Of course, Trump is thrilled to have the richest man alive as a close ally. He's so excited that in his first remarks to the American people as president-elect, instead of laying out a policy or a vision for the nation, he told a very long, very confusing story about how he was watching one of Musk's rockets take off and put someone else on hold.
I tell the story. I told it last night. I had a man on the phone. I had the screen muted, no sound. I was talking to a very important man, happens to be here. And that very important guy, one of the most important people in, I would say, the country, actually. But, I was president, and now it looks like I was going to be maybe president again. So I figured I could ask him to hold. So I asked him to hold. And especially because you're going to be president again, they hold. So I took the phone down, and I'm looking at the screen. I'm seeing this crazy thing that's going around and coming down. It looks like it's going to crash into the gantry. And I said, oh, no. And I said, do me a favor, do you mind holding for a couple of minutes? I want to see this. I thought it was a space-age movie or something. I put the phone down, but I didn't pick it up for 45 minutes, and he was holding.
He was one of the most powerful men in the country, and you left him on hold for 45 minutes? Who was it? Oh, God. Oh. I mean,
I will say this, on the night of the election, when he told that story, I will say that it was kind of meandering or whatever it is. But to be fair, the guy probably hadn't slept in like days. He was going from like city to city, still campaigning until the last minute in every swing state, putting in like, 24-hour-a-day work days, like every day. And I think at the end here, when he got here, he was noticeably a bit tired, and I couldn't fully blame him. I mean, the guy really put in the work. I don't think that Trump was lazy in this campaign at all. So yeah, okay, I'll give it to Seth Meyers, and maybe the story wasn't like very focused. But I think that the bottom line is, as he was trying to say that he saw the rockets that Elon Musk was doing and was really impressed with the work that he does with the rockets. It's fine. Yeah, this is the best that like Seth Meyers can come up with, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to try hard to be a bigger waste of airspace than Jimmy Kimmel. Just, bigger waste of airtime than Jimmy Kimmel.
Right.
But he's doing a great job at being worse than Jimmy Kimmel.
Right. He's going toe-to-toe with Jimmy, but the thing is that, like, the one thing I'll give Seth Meyers, that at least he didn't start, like, weeping in the middle about NATO. Like, Jimmy Kimmel, like, really just reached a level of like, whininess and really pathetic that like, Seth Meyers isn't. Seth Meyers just seems like a jerk-off, but he doesn't seem as pathetic as Jimmy Kimmel somehow. It's the only thing good I could say about him, that he's less of a jerk-off than Jimmy Kimmel. Sorry, Sean.
Probably didn't even notice he was on hold. So anyways, one day, scrammed pool drains clogged with hair, and they said,
now it's all right for them to laugh at Biden
That's
again.
what I'm saying. I'm shocked by this.
He was off limits.
They have nothing to lose now.
You left someone on hold for almost an hour so you could watch TV. I mean, I knew Trump was rude, but I didn't know he was ruder than Verizon. You at least have some fun hold music?
Thank you for calling Mar-a-Lago. You are number 19 in line. Please hold for the next available president-elect.
Oh, great. Now I'm doing it. Side note, the fun thing about calling the Trump customer service hotline is the sound it makes when you press buttons.
Ding, boom, bing, bong, ding, pshin, boom, ding, ding, boom.
No, wait.
Bing.
That wasn't funny.
Bing.
This is his own
Guys, we
biggest
got to
fan.
get through the next 4 years somehow. So yeah, there are going to be some sound effects.
Can you not come up with like one
So
joke?
billionaires are already profiting off a second
Clearly
Trump term.
not.
Trump, meanwhile, is getting ready to roll out his
I'm
radical
pretty
and
sure
very
his
weird
writer's
agenda,
room
and his
has
allies
been
are asking
hired
for just one thing.
based on
Leave him alone, okay?
DEI.
There was an article in the New York Times in June that said resistance to new Trump administration already forming. And it was this long article about all these groups that were already out there. At that time, they thought he was going to beat Biden, but already planning to try to tie up the administration in court. This is exactly what happened last time. They were plotting to impeach him before he ever took office back in 2016. Let us not have a replay of this. Can we just have a couple of years of peace for the Republicans and President Trump?
A couple of years? Democrats didn't even get a couple of months. You're lucky we don't do the liberal version of January 6th, which would just be the faculty at Bryn Mawr performing a sound bath on the Senate floor.
The liberal version? No?
Florida, we do not recognize your 30 electoral votes as we cannot hear them over the sound of this Tibetan singing bowl.
This is very disingenuous. It's not funny, but it's also a lie, basically.
The lack of shame and self-awareness is not surprising, but it is stunning. When the shoe's on the other foot, not only do Republicans not give Democrats any deference or leeway, they actively try to undermine and overthrow Democrats. But now you want us to give you peace? This is giving me flashbacks to visiting my aunt and uncle in New Jersey when I was a kid. Tony, did you make the sauce yet? No, I'm watching the game. Why don't you give me some peace and quiet, you shrew? You didn't give me no peace and quiet when I was on the phone with my sister. That's because I heard you telling her about my business. I got to keep my affairs private, capiche? What affairs? You drive a garbage truck. You ain't no Lee Iacocca. And by the way, that's not my flashback. I don't have an Italian bone in my body. That's Closer Look writer in New Jersey and South Georgia Steele's flashback. But that's how it works when you have writers. You pay them a salary, and in turn, you get to steal their memories.
It's almost funnier at 2X.
So Republicans are ludicrously demanding the rest of us get Trump peace. They also want the investigations of Trump's various crimes to come to an end.
House Majority Leader Steve Scalise posted on X, quote, "The lawfare must end," and called for the politically motivated prosecutions of President Donald Trump to be terminated.
And you know what? You'll probably get your way because the Supreme Court gave Trump immunity and the DOJ has a dumb policy about not prosecuting sitting presidents, and it stinks. We have a stupid system that basically makes getting elected president a get-out-of-jail free card. They're going to have to add one to Monopoly that says run for president, win, collect $200, and then a second card that says unless your name is Rudy Giuliani, then you're still broke and disbarred and weird.
And sure enough, DOJ officials are already getting ready to comply with Republican demands.
I'm told that Jack Smith is someone who understands that he has to follow whatever the rules and regulations of the Justice Department are. So at this point, they're looking for ways to wind this down. I'm told it's unclear when this will happen. I'm told that the formal discussions, according to my source, have begun in earnest today, and it's going to take them several days to figure out exactly what this looks like.
So given the fact DOJ policy says you cannot prosecute a sitting president, expect Jack Smith cases to be done. Donald Trump's legal problems have essentially all gone away.
I got
since he
news
won
for you,
last night.
Jack.
Not everything the Democrats did the last 4 years was great. The one thing you can't complain about is the deliberate pace with which Merrick Garland prosecuted Donald Trump. I mean, he dotted his I's and crossed his T's, then dotted his T's and crossed his I's, then he crossed out his I's and replaced it with T's, then he crossed his actual I's and put dots on his T-shirt, and sure. At the end of 4 years, there's literally nothing to show for it. But is that what the Justice Department is even for? Results? Or is it about the journey? Pretty awesome that by winning the presidency, you get off scot-free from your many legal cases. Justice is served. Republican defenders are going to start giving this advice to clients who get busted selling weed. Okay, Dougie, I know you're facing 6 months in county lockups. You can either fight the charges or, hear me out, run for president. They're never going to like me, man. I once pretended to give a BJ to a microphone. Would you believe that's no longer a problem? Would you believe, Dougie, that is no longer disqualifying in this country? It's a closing argument. So Trump's about to skate and Republicans are demanding peace. Meanwhile, Democrats have already descended into recriminations and finger pointing.
You've already hearing some of this out in public. Some blaming Joe Biden for not getting out of the race early. Others blaming their message. Some blaming liberals for pushing their party's message too far to the left.
I do think the Democratic Party needs to really evaluate how far left are we going to go? Are we going to stay in the center? Because the country is telling us they are in the center.
I think Democrats went way too far to the left on a whole host of issues.
Clearly, there is going to be some sort of reckoning here with the progressive left.
Many Democrats blaming those on the far left of their party. New York Congressman Richie Torres, a Democrat, saying Trump has no greater friend than the far left. Torres adding, the working class is not buying the ivory towered nonsense that the far left is selling.
You think Kamala Harris was too far left? She campaigned with Liz Cheney. The only way she could run a more mainstream centrist campaign is if she formed a Huey Lewis cover band with Mitt Romney and did a cameo in Law & Order. I mean, she praised Dick Cheney for crying out loud. And personally, I'm shocked that didn't work. I assume there was a groundswell of support for old Growler here. My aunt and uncle love that guy. Hey, Tony, I heard you were going to vote for Trump, but then Dick Cheney endorsed Growler. Yeah, I love that freaking guy. Now give me some peace. I'm trying to watch the Jets. The Jets ain't never going to bring you peace, Tony. Madonna. Look, I'm not all that interested in recriminations and infighting, but I do think there's some important lessons Democrats can learn from this. For example, I've been thinking a lot about something Barack Obama said on the campaign trail.
Some folks will be like, well, Donald Trump sent me a check during the pandemic. No, y'all know, because I've heard this. I know y'all, some of you heard that. Hey, let me make sure y'all understand this. Joe Biden sent you a check during the pandemic, just like I gave people relief during the Great Recession. The thing is, we didn't put our name on it.
Okay, but you should have. Like, next time, put your name on it. Seriously, Joe Biden should have sent everyone $1,000 in the mail and called it Biden bucks. And it's not an issue of left versus far left. You just have to make people's lives better in a way that's direct and easy to understand, and then aggressively take credit for it. Take Obamacare. It's great. In the polls, people say they love it, they want to keep it, but polls also show they're sometimes confused by it or don't even know they have it. So next time, make it easy. Just pass a universal healthcare plan and send everyone a little ID card in the mail that says Obamacare, or a Democrat gave this to you. Please remember that, okay? There are lessons Democrats can take away from this election, and if they implement those lessons quickly, a lot can change. Remember, after Trump's first win in 2016, Democrats won big in 18, 2020, and 2022. Just this week, MAGA candidates Mark Robinson and Carrie Lake lost or are currently behind in crucial swing states. And I'm sure when they saw the returns on Tuesday, they had
tears coming down their eyes.
This has been a closer look.
At 2x, he was almost approaching one joke a minute.
And none of them were funny. He couldn't tell one funny joke to save his life, this guy. How do these guys have TV shows? It's like, I think, doesn't Seth Meyers have what used to be like Conan O'Brien's basically slot?
Yes.
Conan O'Brien was the real deal. He was funny. This is shit. Also, how much politics? Everybody has politics all day and all night. If your whole thing is that you're a comedian, people are tuning in because they want some lighthearted comedy. Now, you could laugh at both parties. You could tell a few jokes, but really it should be something a little more just, having a fun time. David Letterman had his monologue. He's told a few jokes. Conan O'Brien, it starts off the obligatory few political jokes at the beginning. It's fine. You're laughing at a politician, at a president-elect. It's fine. But then, there's some guests and it's fun and whatever. It's not. This guy is now just sat here for like 15 minutes and rambled on about this thing. Is this a comedy show or is this just a news show? And it's the same with Stephen Colbert. They've ruined late night comedy. Like we always talk about how things that are more like agenda driven have ruined everything. We talk about it in music. We talk about it in movies. We talk about it in comics. But you know what? Late night comedy is right there too. Destroyed the entire industry. Now, back in the day when you had that Craig Ferguson guy, I thought he was all right. But now,
he was my favorite.
When I think about now him compared to a lot of these other idiots, I would take that guy back in a heartbeat. At least that guy came, he wanted to have some fun, he'd invite some ladies, he'd flirt with them. That was a lot more pleasant. That's what I think people want to see as a late night show, not Seth Meyers like basically regurgitating these kind of CNN talking points of these like salty pundits that are sour and bitter that Trump won, and he's sitting there. Yeah, Seth Meyers did it like smiling. He was like, as opposed to Jimmy Kimmel, who was like crying and weeping. I think that Seth Meyers was just as bitter, but he did it with a smile.
Yeah, but it felt really mean spirited, and I think that's coming through more than being funny.
Right, and that's what these guys have been from the day that Trump was elected the first time. They already derailed everything then. Like, all this late night became like mean-spirited jokes at Trump. And, it's fine. Trump's a character. There was certainly enough to make, jokes there. It's not that he shouldn't be, ridiculed at all if you're the president. Like, it's kind of expected. But yeah, there's a certain line you cross between, laughing and telling some funny joke and moving on and just being mean-spirited.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, let's be clear. I don't have a problem with them making fun of Donald Trump any more than I have a problem with them making fun of Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or any number of other politicians. If they did something stupid, they made a gaffe, whatever, they said something ridiculous, they did something on stage, like his stupid motion where he was pretending to talk into a microphone when there was no microphone there, and it looked like he was bobbing his head up and down and doing something, obscene. Fine, make fun of that. That's fine. But it's like you said, it is so mean-spirited. They are so just obsessed with Donald Trump. They can't talk about anything else.
I mean, it comes off as bitter. It comes off as bitter and annoying. And the other thing is that these guys, the only mandate they were given initially by the networks is that they were supposed to, sort of be a form of escapism for late night, for people after a long day that just want to, have a few laughs and see something that's like lighthearted and entertaining. And they turned all of their shows into these kind of like miserable political, CNN, but with the audience that's like being told to clap and pretend to laugh.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, I think a lot of these shows also, they realize that their numbers up. These shows, Seth Meyers, you know what his average audience is?
2.
What is it?
It's around 900,000. That's it.
That's pretty miserable considering that he's like he's on a major network.
900 over average over a quarter, third quarter 24. Averaged 928,000 viewers.
That's really pathetic. I mean,
Jimmy Kimmel would average around 1.3 million.
I mean, a Critical Drinker posts a video that he just like farts on some movie and like 1 million people watch it.
Joe Rogan posted an interview with Donald Trump and got 41 million over like a week.
I mean, Joe Rogan basically with his podcast gets more. I think they said it on it, or some, maybe he gets more than like CNN and like all these late night things and all these other news networks combined just with one interview. And especially once you're dealing with X and things like that, the distribution here is so much wider. It's such a dinosaur, this kind of old school form of watching TV.
And
maybe it would have gone extinct anyways, but these late night comedians sure expedited the process.
And Gutfeld. Have you ever watched Gutfeld?
Gutfeld, yeah.
It's on Fox News.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'll say about Gutfeld, at least he's on Fox News. I mean, basically, in that case, they basically it's a network that you're getting news. So the fact that the guy is sitting there and he's sort of making a news show where he's telling jokes, at least it's in a forum that I would say is more suitable for it. It's not like anybody thinks that they're watching Conan O'Brien when they're watching Gutfeld.
No,
he is on Fox News.
Yeah,
and know what? I don't regularly watch him, but again, he does what he does, and
and that's fine. I mean, I don't know that I've been particularly turned on by his show. I've watched it a few times. It's
fine. It's sort of
kind of funny. He has some funny little guests.
He has some funny things from time to time. It's sort of a cross between a news show and a late night thing. But like I said, at least in Gutfeld's case, I don't feel like somebody like Letterman created like in Stephen Colbert's case, Letterman like created a late night show, like created a tradition, and then Stephen Colbert came and took a dump on it. Gutfeld, it was an hour that was basically like a dead hour that they were probably just like rerunning some like news stories, and instead he just did like a late night show that he tells some jokes and talks about like politics. It's fine, and I think it actually does probably better numbers than some of these other crappy things.
So I was gonna say Jimmy Kimmel, His average for third quarter 24 was around 1.29 million. Stephen Colbert, 2.49. Gutfeld, 2.93 million.
Wow. So Gutfeld is like the leader of all these shows?
Does better than all of them.
That's really funny.
Better than all of them. So it's hilariously bad. Like, not only are these shows miserable, I don't know who watches them or who enjoys these, but they seem to just be miserable. But you show Gutfeld on cable, pulls in better numbers.
Superior Nav says at Price of Reason Live, Carson gave Letterman his show, LOL. I think, but Jay Leno kind of took it away from him, so he didn't properly really give him his show.
Oh yeah, there was a whole story, whole drama behind that.
Whole drama about it.
Yeah.
But at least you could say that David Letterman, he paid his dues, and in terms of he did the Late Show after Carson for many years. He then went and did his show on CBS. I think that he understood the value of having a little bit more of a middle of the road type of approach. He tells some jokes, but he also would create a fun atmosphere that you can enjoy a late night. Johnny Carson, by the way, I still think is the best. I mean, Johnny Carson was amazing. Really, none of the guys we see today are on his level.
I'm sure that the networks are also telling them what they have to push, especially if they're on like ABC and Disney's in charge of that. They're gonna have. I'm sorry, I'm really tired. I just spaced out. If Colbert is on ABC and ABC's owned by Disney, they're gonna tell him what he can and can't say, because I feel like Disney's just that corrupt anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There was another thing that I showed today, and this just, I don't know why I thought it was interesting. Let me see if I hope I'm not sharing already the thing. I keep sharing all my DMs. Hopefully. Thankfully, like, my DMs are like very uninteresting. It's just like, here's a link. Oh, this is the link. Yes, it's here.
Here's the link.
And then there was one like, oh, I saw a lady with boobs like playing video games. Like that was the only thing that you got me. Like I wrote some stupid comment, but you know what? It wasn't too bad.
It's not as bad as that one where you admitted to shooting a man in Vegas just to watch him die.
I sometimes sing that song though. It is a good song. Hold on. Let's see if this shares. So you have this one. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Billie Eilish paused her Wednesday concert to slam President-elect Donald Trump as a predator before walking off stage after singing about Roe v. Wade being overturned. It's like I really this girl, in my opinion, is such an overhyped, snoozy, crappy. I can't stand her music. It's a bunch of shit. Can't. I suffer from listening to her crappy music.
Oh, it's dreadful.
It's dreadful. It's like if she was around like 10, not 10, maybe 20, 30 years ago, like amongst the type of music that was on the radio then, and she would exist. I don't know. Maybe they'd play her like in an elevator. You know what I mean? Like when people were just like, they needed some snoozy thing in the background where she mumbles and whispers and shit. She wouldn't be considered anything. This is music for little girls, snoozy music for little girls. So I don't know what position she thinks she has. Like somebody paid money to see her concert. She's blabbing about this crap. I completely out of her element here, in my opinion. But in addition, and this is just my personal opinion, this is the same lady that was, I don't want to dwell to get into these politics too much, but basically there were things happening in the Middle East where women, in a certain situation were attacked and things like that, and she took the other side. Basically, she was very happy that women were being attacked in the Middle East in a certain situation, like, in a certain conflict. She was very happy about that, but this is suddenly an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She, I guess what I'm saying is she is one of those kind of like a Greta Thunberg when they love the terrorist people. I don't know how I'm trying to avoid any kind of flags here, but you know what I'm saying. Like, basically, she supported terrorists who who sort of oppress women. She likes that, and it's like if you like that, then what are you talking about? Then shut up and sing your crappy songs.
Have you ever hated someone so much that you would pause whatever you're doing to tell a bunch of random strangers that they're a predator or whatever? It seems a little unhinged.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what she wants. It's like some of these people should be so thankful that they even have a career, that this mediocre, snoozy young lady can stand on a stage and sing her crappy, shitty songs, and that people pay money for it. And she has a ton of money from people watching this crap. Just take the money and run. Take the money and run. Nobody cares about this. But you're singing about Roe versus Wade and upset about a predator? What are you, an idiot? Also, sometimes, there's something about, like, being like a good sport or whatever. It's like I said, so people will talk about, the fact that there was the 2020 elections and some people didn't feel that they believed the results, and that's a certain story. That's, it's a very specific thing to 2020. I think that there's a lot of things that happened during that election that were kind of strange, to put it mildly, especially because, there were all these mail-in votes that it wasn't ever done that way before, and it was kind of a recipe for disaster, even if, let's say, there weren't bad intentions involved. But I will say, from the second that Joe Biden became the president, he became the president. I think that all the Republicans, like everybody, were just like, okay, he's the president, or people that were independent, more like me, he's the president, and that's it. I mean, I don't remember that 4 years people were like, conjuring up all these things and singing about him and doing all this predator and shit. Like, I don't know. I think people just kind of left him alone. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that he wouldn't get criticized or people wouldn't laugh at him, but the fact that she like stopped a concert to sing to people about Roe versus Wade and that like Trump is a predator, that just seems like bonkers, insane TDS to me.
Oh yeah, well, Billie Eilish is going to keep being Billie Eilish, and eventually, we're probably going to see a Winehouse situation there, but I don't know.
I don't know. She looks weird, she looks weird. I mean, I'm trying to think something good. Like, sometimes you have a female singer that maybe she mumbles and sings crap and the music is a snooze, but you say, well, at least she looks pretty good. But, what am I going to say? You can say, well, you're an older guy. She's not like your thing anyways. Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But I'm just pointing out, she's not, it's not like she's stunning, but her music isn't so great. You know what I mean?
Doesn't do anything for me.
Like, for example, Kylie Minogue, I don't know that her music was so great, but at least she looked nice. Sometimes that's fine. You know what I mean?
She had that Bad Guy song a few years ago, and I was like, okay. And then I heard something else by her, and I was like, oh, that we're just gonna keep doing this same sound, are we?
Over and over again. Over and over again.
And over. She has I really like the James Bond themes, and she has the single worst James Bond theme ever. I cannot stand it.
And the thing is sometimes there could be a person that I don't really listen to often, and they do a James Bond song, and I'll say, that was pretty good. For example, I don't really listen to Adele in my spare time, but I will say that the song that she did for Skyfall sounded like a classic James Bond song. I listened to it.
That's one of my favorites.
I listened to it. I said, you know what? This Adele lady, she did fine. It sounds fine. I have nothing bad to say. It sounded pretty good. And credit where credit is due. Billie Eilish, crap. Her song, you'd think that this is the one time maybe she can grab the microphone and sing normally, but instead she goes, that's what she sounds like when she sings.
Exactly.
That's exactly what she sounds like on her song. And if that's what you want to hear, it's fine. But if you like music, like I'm actually a musician, I can't stand that thing. And they're like, she's so talented, her and her brother Phineas. They're not talented. They sat there in their room and put some crappy beats, some shit music. Sorry, Sean.
I like the idea that on any given stream, you just designated one person to apologize to.
You're the swear jar, Sean. You have to apologize whenever you're on the stream.
So Madonna James Bond theme was pretty bad as well. You know what? I'll give you that. But I still she tried to do something that I think wasn't right for it. At the time, she was experimenting a lot with kind of electronic music, and I think that she was trying out something. I see it more. I'm not saying that I love everything that Madonna's done, but some of her earlier material I like more than the later material. But I still think that for the Bond, it was sort of like she swung for the fences and missed. But it's not that she mumbled or just like, didn't take it seriously. It's just she did something that maybe didn't end up like being the best fit. Billie Eilish just, couldn't even properly sing the song. And people that'll tell me, well, her style is that she mumbles and sings crappy. Like, that's not a style. That's not a style.
That's mumbling and being crappy.
Exactly. She's like, the thing that she's like she whispers, can't stand it. It's not that I just don't like it. It annoys me. I listen to it and I'm like, sing. Just take the microphone, put your mouth on the microphone and sing like a normal person. That's what happens when I hear crappy music. But in any case, apparently she had a TDS thing.
Yeah. and now we're gonna start ranking all the best James Bond themes. The countdown to number 1 starts.
Oh, my absolute favorite is View to a Kill.
You know what? That one's really good. Yeah.
Somebody says
that was Duran Duran, right?
What's central heating? I don't understand this. Turn off your central heating.
Wait, who did View to a Kill?
What does this person mean, turn off your central heating? Does anybody understand that?
No clue. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Not View to a Kill. That's my number 2 favorite. My favorite is, oh my god, I'm tired. I'm blanking on it. Living Daylights. Living Daylights?
That was Aha that did Living Daylights.
Yeah,
that's your favorite? That one is like kind of a wobbly one, if you ask me.
I like that one, and then I like the View to a Kill. And then, they vary.
See, I gotta
Living Daylights.
Yeah,
That's the one you like, right?
Yeah.
The only problem with that one is there's something about the production. I think that the guy from Aha knows how to sing, and maybe there's a few isolated ideas there that weren't bad for a song, but somehow the execution in that one, I don't love it. Like in that Bond song.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that they had some ideas that weren't bad, but the song doesn't come together properly, I think.
I think I mostly like the instruments in it.
Yeah. Of the newer ones, I got to give it to Tina Turner for GoldenEye. Not only did I really enjoy that movie, I also really loved it. I thought the theme was it was a great way to take that James Bond theme and bring it, make it modern. And she just wailed in that song.
Okay, I have to say something here that the people that wrote that one is like Bono and the Edge from U2. And you know what? I didn't necessarily think that their writing was so great, but I will agree on one thing. Tina Turner knocked it out of the park.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She was blew it out. Yeah.
She was giving something rather generic, in my opinion, yet she made it like about 10 times better than what it was. So if I had to really give props there, I would give it to Tina more than to like U2 or Bono and the Edge. I don't necessarily hate Bono and the Edge, especially like their early material, but I'm just saying like without Tina Turner doing that song, it would.
It's her performance. It's her performance that sells it, and she was just such an incredible talent. Amazing voice.
Amazing. Voice.
If I were going to go for my number 1, though, it's just going to have to be Shirley Bassey singing Goldfinger.
That's the best one.
It's perfect. It is perfect.
It also kind of established what it means when you have a James Bond song
to have a Bond theme. Exactly.
From that one, I think everybody that ever did a Bond song afterwards was like, okay, there's Shirley Bassey with Goldfinger. That's always like in the back of everybody's mind.
Yeah, it's the template. It's the template for all the other Bond themes.
A template, a point of reference, and something that you want to try. Kind of like today when you have like a superhero movie and you think of Superman 1 with Christopher Reeve, with Gene Hackman, Marlon Brando, Richard Donner's movie. You think of that thing. I think that when people think of a Bond song, immediately like the kind of go-to example is Goldfinger. It's just wonderful. It was
written by Anthony Newley, and it was produced by George Martin.
That doesn't surprise me. George Martin knew what he was doing, and it sounds great. And her voice was fantastic. I think she's still around. I think she's still alive, but I don't know if she performs. But even I think that sometime in the past, like maybe 5 or 10 years, there was some award ceremony, and I think Shirley Bassey came to perform Goldfinger, and I believe she performed it well. I was just like, wow, she can still somehow do this.
She came back. She came back and did "Diamonds Are Forever" too, which I thought was a fun theme, but not very
No, I mean, I felt that she was good, but I mean, the song it didn't stand out as much, even though I thought she definitely is professional. Superior Nav here says mentions Chris Cornell. You Know My Name, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Chris Cornell was an amazing talent. I thought that his song was fantastic when it came out. When Casino Royale, the movie came out, some people were like complaining about that Chris Cornell song, and I couldn't imagine why. I couldn't understand why. When I saw the movie, I was so excited. Like when there's the opening, the kind of cold open, and then you have the Chris Cornell song, I was like fist bumping. I was so excited. Like it's one of the best Bond songs for me.
And then with it having that title, You Know My Name, it's like playing to the history of the franchise. It's like that's great.
Chris Cornell was one of like the greatest voices, that we've had in the past 50 years, certainly in the terms of rock and roll. Such a loss that guy died. And, we were talking about In Excess and about a few other things. That's another strange situation that they found him kind of hanging in his, kind of his room or whatever it is. I don't know. The whole thing that went down there was very strange with him. I don't know beyond that. There's nothing for me to say. I think that in his case, if I had to guess, and I have nothing to prove this is just my own personal opinion, he had medications that he was taking, even, like all these medications. He had like anxiety, and he had all these medications he was taking. I think that this reunion tour with Soundgarden that he was on, him and his buddies started doing stuff that they used to do in the old days when it comes to partying and things like that. And I think maybe he combined a number of things that he shouldn't have combined that sort of drove him off the deep end. Unless there's a more sinister scenario here.
Yeah, who knows?
All I know is that he didn't seem like a guy that wanted to end his life. Just like a short time before that, he was on stage somewhere performing with his daughter, performing music. I didn't look at him and think this, you never know, but there's so many things that you look at, and it just didn't look like that's what he was going for. It didn't seem to represent anything that anybody saw anywhere of him. He seemed to be doing well, so I don't know what to tell you. Just a really, really strange death, Chris Cornell, and a major loss.
Yeah. And Josh McCalkins was saying, the rare male Bond singer. Yeah, there were only a handful.
Louis Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong was one. From Russia with Love as male.
Tom Jones, maybe?
Tom Jones is...
From Russia with Love was Matt Monroe. Yeah,
Tom Jones. Monroe, but Tom Jones, I think, sings maybe Thunderball.
Yeah, Thunderball, and then the one from Spectre,
Sam Smith.
Sam Smith. Yeah.
Technically, I don't know if he's considered a man, and I say that not because I don't consider him a man, but because he himself doesn't consider himself.
May not consider himself a man. Yeah, and I forgot. I was just trying to surf through the list. Shirley Bassey came back and sang Moonraker as well, so she did three different.
By the way, I want to say something that it was thanks to Sam Smith that I even understood. You know how there's like the pronouns they, them, and all this weird stuff. The first time that I understood that this existed was because of Sam Smith, I believe. And it's also why there's a crown in my avatar. Did you know that?
Oh no, I did not.
So if I remember correctly, what happened is that one day Sam Smith posted something, and we're talking years ago. Maybe we're talking like 7 years ago. I don't know what it is. Like 6 years ago. It wasn't like yesterday. And he posted something and he said, like, moving forward, he's now they, them, or something like that. He wants to be referred to as they, them. And he was writing all this nonsense. He's like, oh, like, I don't know, I'm they, them. And he was like writing about his preferences, whatever it is. And I looked at it and I was just scratching my head. I didn't even understand what the guy was talking about. So then I said, I thought, like, I think maybe even there's a tweet somewhere where I tell a joke and I say, like, oh, is there like, has he multiplied himself? Like, what do you mean they, them? I really didn't understand it. And then because he like started talking about his pronouns and I thought it was stupid, I like then said that like my pronouns are like your highness, which like it's not funny now, but at the time it was like so new.
Oh, we lose Price. No.
Mid-lip movement.
in mid sentence.
Now he just looks surprised.
He'll come back. He'll be back. Oh yeah, but I genuinely thought he was going to tell us that the first time he had heard about any of these they, thems, and whatever was going to be Ezra Miller. With his bizarre breakdown and collapse when he was arrested and I'm my pronouns, whatever, and yelling at the cops.
Oh yeah, well, that wasn't that long ago though.
Yep. Oh gosh, yeah. I honestly I don't even know who Sam Smith is. I've never listened to any of his music. So
if he did that Spectre song, that is another one of the worst ones. I can't stand it.
Yeah,
he starts hitting like those high notes, and I'm like, stop.
Oh yeah, another one that's dreadful as Octopussy. That one.
We're at all-time high.
The title for the movie hilarious, but the actual song, oh.
Well, it came on the radio one day. I was with my wife and her parents, and I was like, "Oh, this is the theme to Octopussy," and my wife was like, "Why?"
So what?
Like, well, they're not gonna sing for like 4 minutes screaming the word Octopussy on the radio.
Yeah. You imagine Shirley Bassey wailing that at the top of her lungs. Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. I wish they had.
We'll guess we'll see if Price pops back up. I'm not even sure I can share anything on the screen for us to talk about without him here. Let's give it a try. Let's see. We were talking about the gamers for Kamala.
I didn't know that was a thing until.
Oh geez, yeah. Let's see if I can pull it up here. So did you see anything with Kamala and Tim? We're supposed to be playing video games with their with the gamers for Kamala.
All I saw was a picture of Tim, because I think you guys said something tonight that has, or maybe I saw something. It was just tampon Tim. So
so they had their website was I was gonna see if it, because I don't have I've got their current site that's available, but can I share?
It's amazing how much I feel like I've missed because I didn't chase all this stuff.
So they had a whole site with a whole bunch of different posts and all sorts of different stuff, and this is all that's left. They deleted their whole site.
Jeez.
Saying the election is over, we believe in America, don't stop fighting. So they annihilated, they eliminated their site, and oh look, our little squid buddy is back. Hey there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what happened. My entire internet just collapsed.
Oh, it'll happen. Everything's real reliable around here, and every now and then something just blinks off, and
mine is supposed to be reliable. Yeah, there's a weird stuff happening. But yeah, no, thanks.
But yeah, we were talking about we kind of moved on. We finished up our talk of the James Bond themes. Decided the Octopussy theme was probably the weakest. And,
why isn't it in the title of your stream? that I randomly threw into this conversation.
We did get a super chat, or not a super chat. We got a Rumble rant there.
I can't even see it. Can you? I can't pin it.
It's not there. Oh, that's fine. So some late guy L1 1990 for $5. Thank you for that. Says, I'm a very casual 007 guy. Honestly, Adele Skyfall to me is very good. Lady does have a pretty good voice. So yeah, I think that was one that we mentioned that was pretty enjoyable.
It's fair enough, you know. I can't say that everything she does is great. I also feel like she became a bit of a diva. I felt she was more kind of more grounded in her earlier days, and as time goes on, she feels more diva-ish to me, Adele. But putting all of that aside and just looking at her talent, you know, the way I feel about Billie Eilish mumbling and just wasting time and just like nonsense, at least Adele has a real voice. I mean, you give her a microphone, that lady can sing. Like her or not, I mean, she can do it. Even when we were criticizing those celebs that like were, you know, going and supporting, doing all the rallies for Kamala and all that stuff, Beyonce at least can sing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B for me, like I said, they were more like bottom of the barrel. Taylor Swift is kind of very just bubblegum and generic, and Beyonce, I mean, it's not kind of music that I regularly listen to, but anytime, like, let's say that there's some kind of Grammys or whatever it is, and like she comes out and she's like singing and dancing, it looks like a pretty professional artist to me. I can't say that I can't just write her off and say like she has zero talent. I think she does have some talent. I personally would like to hear her sing better songs than the one she sings, but what do I know?
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard any songs from most of these people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Price and I were talking
much of anything.
Yeah, Price and I were talking the other day, and I was saying basically, if it's anything that came after the '90s, I probably haven't heard it.
I was at work one day, and this younger girl was like, "Oh, we were talking about some artist, I forget," and she's like, "You've heard her on the radio," and I was like, "I guarantee you, I have not heard the type of music that you listen to." And she's like, "What do you listen to?" And I was like, 70s, 80s, 90s. And she's like, "Oh, you listen to dad rock?" And I immediately felt like Donovan turning into a skeleton and blowing away from Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not even talking about like young people, like, early middle-aged women that I'm sitting with at a table at a faculty retreat. And they're talking about, oh, I took my kids to see this concert and that concert. Oh, we went to go see Taylor Swift. It was so amazing. And then going back and forth and talking about that. What's your favorite Taylor Swift song? And I said, I don't think I have one. Oh yeah. I wanted to go, I wanted to go real sarcastic and be like, I celebrate her entire catalog. But what I said was, I have to be honest with you. I don't think I've listened to an entire Taylor Swift song ever in my life, and I don't intend to change that anytime soon. What? Oh, you're so old. And I'm like, yeah, I've been that way my whole life. Everyone was into grunge in the 90s. I was listening to Motorhead, and I was listening to, rock from the 60s and the 70s. I was listening to all of that stuff. Like, forget it. I don't want to hear any of this other new stuff. So, yeah, it's always been that way.
Like maybe
I once met Lemmy from Motorhead and hung out a little bit with him, and I feel like I didn't appreciate the moment. I was in the middle of doing stuff, and I wish I could have that opportunity again to sort of relish the moment a bit more. But he seemed really cool.
Well, there's still a chance. We just need a a space heater and some a hell of a lot of smelling salts.
Is that a South Park reference or something?
No, it was some movie. I can't even remember right now, but it's like, it's not going to happen. Not without a space heater and smelling salts or something. I don't remember. It made me laugh. It stuck with me, and I misquote it to this day.
By the way, I want to tell everybody that's watching this, if you're enjoying this stream, make sure to like and follow. And if you also, if you can, also in addition to my channel, make sure you're following Professor R2, who has, I believe, a channel on Rumble and on X. You can find him. So
Yeah.
I recommend that. Just check it out. Like this thing, subscribe, leave comments, subscribe to follow Professor R2 and Sean Crummell as well. Does a lot of cool things, whether on X or he has his own comic. At the end, I'm going to give more, the links, but feel free, you guys, Professor, if you want to drop some links here and there from time to time. I don't really know what I'm doing, but you can always drop them if you feel like it. But yeah, it's great, hanging out with everybody here, and we're enjoying this great audience that we have here, especially on Rumble. Especially now with all this election stuff, we saw how important it was that there's a place where there's kind of coverage that doesn't rely on these kind of legacy media outlets. And I think I saw Chris Pavlovsky, the CEO of Rumble. I think that I saw him post something about not having to rely on anybody else's cloud, and how Rumble kind of works independently and was able to provide news coverage that was very independent. And I agreed with it. I think that this really is, the only place when it comes to a video platform. Twitter /X, I think that's also a place that free speech is considered good. And like I said, but video platform, I really feel it's Rumble, and I really enjoy, broadcasting here. And for the Night Owl, that's, for me, it's considered kind of our home base, Rumble for the Night Owl. So just wanted to take this moment to say a positive word, because it's really important that there's a place that people can kind of broadcast and talk about whatever they want, and not think so much about being hassled or anything like that. It does feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so yeah, just wanted to mention that. But where were we?
I'd mentioned real quickly, just talking about the Gamers for Harris thing. I don't know if you had a particular post or anything you wanted to share about that, but yeah, we're just talking about how they had suddenly just disappeared into the ether. They were trying
that
to
is a
build
good
this
story. That is a good
coalition,
story.
and they were gonna, we're recruiting all these gamers and game developers and all these people who are gonna help to be the next generation of gaming, whatever, like trying to be sort of an anti-Cabrutus kind of a thing. And they of course they lost the election and then just shuttered, just turned off, gone.
People are asking me if we booted on YouTube, but I think it's working. I think I don't think nobody booted me. There was just a problem with my internet for a few minutes, and thankfully, Professor and Sean were still here to keep you entertained, and I was able to come back. Right?
Yeah,
I guess
everything's still on Rumble and YouTube. Yeah, we're still
great.
live.
That's good to know, because people were asking me. So yeah, no, everything's great.
What were these gamers for Kamala gonna do? Like make video games about voting?
Who knows? I'm surprised they haven't completely deleted their X account just yet. But
I'm trying to find this now, because I think that I'm trying to find.
Yeah, they had a site. They were selling gear, like just like White Guys for Harris. They were selling like T-shirts.
One of the funniest commercials I've seen in a long time.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So you have this thing here. I guess this is what it looked like.
There's kind of an archive of it. Yeah.
Gamers for Harris. But then they basically removed it, right? Now it's like...
Yep, now it's toast. That's all it says now. Just black page. All the content is gone.
If I'm on the right Twitter page, they have 6 followers.
Also, what's going to happen with white dudes for Harris?
White dudes for Harris. I guess they get to keep the T-shirts and whatever they were paid by the campaign, because we know the campaign was paying people left and right to promote it.
There's so many cringe moments from this campaign. Now, you could say that about any campaign, that, you know, maybe one candidate gets a lot of support and then it doesn't work out and you can kind of look back and cringe. But in this case, some of the things are so cringe inducing. I feel like, I don't know if there's another campaign that really gave us so many stupid things that probably years from now are still going to be like fodder. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh no, I mean the people, the number of people who just went all in on this campaign, it was baffling, to be honest. Like, this is a candidate that nobody supported. She got
nobody chose her either.
She got 1% when she primaried. 1% support. It's not like she was number 2 behind Biden, right? 1%. Nobody wanted her as a presidential candidate, and then she got brought in as the vice president because Joe promised to have a black woman, or a minority woman of some kind that he bring in. So he brought her.
I think he promised it. I think he said it in advance. He's like,
he did.
He actually said something like that. It's not us being jerks. He actually went and said that, and then he brought her. I almost forgot.
And that's the same thing with the Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson when she was, when she was brought in, and people said, doesn't it devalue this position that you were chosen simply because of your color and your sex? Like that's the reason you were chosen, not because you're the best candidate for the job, because I am the best candidate for the job. Well, but that's not why you were chosen. He said up front, you were chosen because of these other things.
Right.
So yeah, it's absurd, right?
Now, somebody put a comment here, and I just wanted to put it, that he was saying that, their message here, the election of these guys for Harris, these gamers for Harris, we still believe in America, don't stop fighting. So Bolija, I hope I got that right. Don't stop fighting. The Dems signal to Antifa, BLM, and Palestinian supporters.
It's not wrong. I mean, during when Kamala was giving her her speech after she had conceded, she said the word "fight" like 20 plus times during her concession.
She did say it. She did say it.
And people want to, they want to jump all over Republicans for, by saying don't be violent. What that actually is a dog whistle to be violent. So
it's true.
You say don't stop fighting. You keep saying fight, whatever in your speeches. Maybe that's a dog whistle that you're saying. Go out there and create chaos and fight people. I think that's reasonable based on what the assumptions that have been made by others about speeches from other people. So,
I mean, the thing is that, people keep on giving Trump a bunch of crap of what happened there in 2020. But I don't necessarily think that he wanted them to actually storm the building. I don't think he was saying stuff that's much different. He was saying that I think that he was trying to rally people in terms of protest, but I don't think that he wanted them to go into that building.
No.
When I see that video, it looked like the police were sort of letting them into the building, which was also very weird.
Oh, there's video of them escorting them around the building.
Right. There's a lot of things that kind of don't make sense about that day.
Very bizarre.
Very bizarre, to put it
mildly. And I'm not going to say it was wrong for them to break.
Totally
windows.
wrong.
It was wrong for them to enter the Capitol.
It
but
was
this
wrong.
was not an armed insurrection. Nobody was running around trying to set fire to things. Nobody was running around.
It was a protest gone wrong. You know what I mean? It was a protest / riot gone wrong.
Yep.
And there's the fact that it went wrong is not something that should be ignored, in my opinion. But at the same time, you had that kind of in 2020, that summer, where because of the BLM riots, so many businesses were kind of burned to the ground. And you had people like CNN just sitting around and like praising how great it was. Nancy Pelosi or whatever was saying how great it was. I mean, what was so great about people losing their business and, billions of dollars of property damage? And in some cases, there were situations where police officers were killed, people were killed. And a lot of times the networks would just kind of sweep everything under the carpet, including there was that one guy that I think that didn't he take like a truck or something and drive through a crowd at a parade or something? And then they said that it was a tragic accident. I mean, do you know what I'm talking about? The Christmas, what they call the Christmas parade accident. I mean, a guy that basically posted all this stuff on social media that suggested that there were certain white people that he didn't like. And that same guy went and plowed through like a whole crowd. And of course, he was from a certain background. I'm not saying that all people from that background do whatever this guy does, but the news didn't want to report what happened because it didn't suit the narrative that they were trying to peddle. I guess what I'm saying is that so much crazy stuff happened, and somehow everybody was sweeping everything under the carpet except for this January thing, which became all day and all night like they keep, the insurrection. Yes, it was a shitty riot that went wrong. Certainly, should have been avoided. Even though there were some weird things that went on there, it still should have been avoided. You can't just look at that and make it like that's like the worst thing that ever happened, and all the other stuff that they endorsed was great.
Yeah. No, they
I just don't like that kind of hypocrisy personally.
And trying them all with all sorts of treason and insurrection charges and stuff like that, when really the worst thing they did, again, it was wrong for them to break into the building.
It was wrong. I think everybody knows that.
And if that's all they were tried for, and that's all that they got sentenced for, I don't think a lot of people would be fighting and arguing it. It's the people that got these just outrageous sentences and spent a year or more in jail before they even saw a judge. That kind of thing was where people got really upset.
I mean, and not only that, the kind of propaganda machine of the mainstream media, how many times since that riot then do they keep shoving this thing over and over and over and over again? They'll never let it go. Yeah, it was a bad thing that happened, and I'm against it, but to sort of pretend that nothing else bad happened around that same year, ignoring so many bad things that happened and just highlighting that one, that to me is annoying. I don't like that kind of hypocrisy. I think that this election also, the results of it shows that maybe a lot of other people just don't like that kind of mainstream media hypocrisy. Something has changed. I think people are just more alert now and don't take it as seriously as they used to.
I'm looking at this post for Geeks for America. They had an event on like October 16th, and it's like, join us. We will bring together gamers, developers, and the voices you all know and love. And to me, I'm reading this thinking, have they not been paying attention to the game industry for the last year? Like, nobody loves the people making these games.
No, not at all.
Sorry.
No, and also, by the way, and it's a good segue because you started with this, but, I think it is worth mentioning that Kotaku, which is a publication that has it out for gamers and has been so involved in this whole Gamergate 2 scandal, spearheaded by was she an assistant editor? What was Alyssa Mercante considered there? Professor?
Yeah, she was a senior editor. Yes,
senior editor.
Mercante.
So senior
look at
editor.
that face. I could go my whole life without saying that face again.
And now she's out. I think she's out now, right?
Yeah, a senior editor. And so she wrote a post. She put a post up on X earlier today. Not a fully written post, but like a picture. Essentially, after 2 years, I've decided to leave Kotaku in my role as senior editor. Of course, a lot of people have said, "Oh, did you decide to leave, or were you fired?" Yeah. Anyway,
What was her answer?
She hasn't really answered that. She just said "kiss my ass" to people. Apparently,
classy.
Very. Oh, she's always classy. They're some of the best in the business. I'll be forever proud to have shared the masthead with them. They continuously fight to maintain the editorial pillars that make Kotaku great. That's funny because I thought they were moving over to just making gaming guides, but whatever. It's been a long few months during which I've learned a lot about myself and my value as both a woman and a writer. A long few months? What do you mean? If you just left, if you just quit, what do you mean a long few months? Seems interesting. This is the right decision for me. I have some things coming down the pike, so keep your eyes peeled. So people have been keeping their eyes peeled. Some people asked, why she had left. She said the decision was made before the layoffs, but now I'm even more glad I made it. The last round of layoffs we knew about were like last year, I think. So I'm not sure what she means by that, or if there's another round of layoffs coming that she didn't mention. I don't know. It's weird. So yeah, the last round of layoffs was in November of 2023. But people have been keeping their eyes open. She says there's things coming down the pike, whatever. Hypnotic, you may have seen his channel on YouTube. He had a post on X where he was, trying to put some puzzle pieces together here. Basically saying that, Alyssa Mercanti is gone from Kotaku, claims there are things in the works. She's been spotted, or she's actually been sharing some posts about her being in Montreal. Guess who is in Montreal?
Justin Trudeau.
Sweet
Baby Inc.
I hope that they hire her. I hope that she joins forces with Sweet Baby Inc. That's like the best thing that could happen.
She was there meeting with Compulsion Games, which is a company. They're making a new game called South of Midnight. That is one that has been called out as being Sweet Baby Inc. Infected, Sweet Baby infected stuff, DEI infected. And so she was there meeting with them. This game is going to be a flop. And they're in Montreal, but then again, so is Sweet Baby. So I would love it if she got hired by Sweet Baby. I mean, wouldn't that just be a match?
So great.
Hell?
Great. I love it.
Right?
I hope that's really the team up that we need. Sweet Baby Inc. and Alyssa Mercante. There couldn't be a better team up than that.
Yeah. It's going to be something else. So, yeah, maybe that's happening. Maybe it's not. Maybe she's just there visiting some friends. I don't know. But, she did show up at Compulsion Games for a bit. Again, they've got their game South of Midnight, which is one that some people early on had said, hey, they had different protagonists in the game, different storylines, and Sweet Baby made them like throw out a whole bunch of their work and change the character and make it into somebody different. And so it's basically guaranteed to be a flop, just like all of the other stuff that Sweet Baby has had a lot of input on. But leaving. Oh yeah, that face. Ugh. She looks like she's just taken a really satisfying crap.
She does kind of look like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In her pants, in that chair.
Yeah.
Somebody says, I don't even care anymore. That's Monty Furnace. I don't even care anymore. I need some Game On, and I load up Doom from 1993.
Well, hell yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I just finished Jack 3. I'm starting Jack X next.
Nice. Yeah. Interesting enough, I went back and I was playing Doom 64 the other night. The Nintendo 64 version that adds various different tweaks and stuff to it. It's pretty fun. I was playing that the other night. So
that sounds wonderful and would definitely give me motion sickness and leave me in
no.
I also do retro gaming. I mean, that's what I like.
Yeah.
Sometimes I throw on like an old game and play. Like I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
In addition, I did recently, I mentioned it a few times, that I did play some Black Myth Wukong, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, it was nice to kind of see, because so many people were saying good things about it, so I just wanted to see what it was about, and I thought it was cool. I kind of liked it.
That's definitely on the list for things to get to over the holidays. I had very little time to game recently.
I wish I had time to play it more. I wish I had time to play it more. I you know, I did a few sessions, you know, playing, and I enjoyed what I saw, but I just didn't have as much time as I want. I'm gonna maybe over the holidays I'll try to find some time to do a little more gaming, but yeah, it's nice. You know, when I see so many people talking about these bad games, and then I hear people talking about a good game, even though for a while I kind of stepped away from gaming in general, it's nice to be able to check it out and see what people are enjoying.
Well, my son talked me into upping our little membership for Nintendo Online for the Switch, where you can get and you can access. They've got some Nintendo 64 games that they've emulated for the Switch that you can play on there. And I loved that generation of games, GoldenEye 007 and any number of other things there. But the controls just don't feel right. So actually the other day, this is really cool. You can buy a kit that will let you take an original Nintendo 64 controller and you can put in it has a new PCB, and it has a new stick for the Nintendo 64 controller, and then you swap out all those different parts, and then where the little memory card would go, the rumble pack thing would go, there's another little bit that goes in there that's the rumble pack, and it has all the Bluetooth connections and everything in it, and then you can use that original Nintendo 64 controller to play games on the Switch, just like the original games were meant to be played. And I was having so much fun playing that the other day. It's like, oh, so many memories with this just bizarro controller that they had.
Yeah, I had no idea how to hold that for a while when it first came out.
Yeah. Well, the idea was it was originally supposed to be if you look at the front of it, it was supposed to be basically sort of an augmented Super Nintendo controller that then had the other little grips and stuff coming off the bottom of it. Then it had that middle grip with the stick, because they weren't really sure how they were going to handle 3D, controlling a 3D game. But it was a really interesting. Nintendo's always been really interesting with the way that they mix up their controllers and do different stuff with it. I loved the GameCube controller. That's still one of my favorite controllers ever. It was so comfortable, and the layout of the buttons was really unique, and everything was great.
Marla Sharndoff says Yu-Gi-Oh games are awesome too.
Yes,
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, my son was into Yu-Gi-Oh for a while. It's an anime related thing that came from, or it's a card based thing. Yeah, so you play different collectible cards in different orders to put characters on the board and give them powers and create attacks and stuff. My son was really into it for a while, and then he moved on to something else, as kids do.
By the way, if we have Sean here, I think that maybe we can kind of, for our final story that we touch upon, maybe we can look at Star Wars. You saw that they announced that stupid thing today?
Yes.
I heard in passing.
I was just looking to see if I could.
I don't know who the guy is, though.
Was that Deadline that had that story today?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was Deadline. Here we go.
Where do I find that story? Let's find it.
Here, I got it.
You found it. You got it?
Yep. So this was Deadline was the first one to publish this earlier today. So supposedly there's a new Star Wars trilogy that's in the works, and Lucasfilm is tapping Simon Kinberg to write this. So Simon Kinberg, he's been on a lot of different projects actually. I'm trying to remember some of the bigger ones. I know he's been some of the X-Men movies. He was a producer for a lot. He's for the Deadpool films. He was also producer for a lot of the earlier X-Men films, like X-Men First Class, not the earliest ones, but X-Men First Class, X-Men Days of Future Past. He's had a whole lot of other ones that weren't so great.
He's the hit and miss guy, which a lot of the stuff is mainly miss. I mean, he's not so great. It's not like a guy that you think, okay, this guy is a guy that like constantly delivers.
I mean, he also did X-Men Apocalypse. And he did
right.
Fantastic.
Dark Phoenix, I think, was his too. I mean, certainly, this guy isn't at the top of the list of somebody that would do a Star Wars. He doesn't have that kind of pedigree. I think that we were trying, and I was talking about this before with Tom, over on Midnight's Edge. The thing is that I tend to think that once in a while they just like to announce a project. Maybe it sounds good for investors. I think somebody said that there's an investor call or something a week from now. Star Wars is a big brand. Instead of just saying, hey, we're not doing anything, we suck, we drove this IP into the ground, it just sounds good to keep saying that there's another project. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bob Iger is going to say, yeah, we got a new trilogy that we're working on for Star Wars. It's going to be great. I don't think anybody knows what this trilogy is. I don't think this Simon Kinberg guy is the right guy for it. I don't know if he knows what he's doing or what's even happening. It's more that there's a necessity to announce something. I thought that maybe it's just one of those situations that Kathleen Kennedy herself just wants to pretend she's doing something. Or it's just some kind of investor mirage. But we've seen a lot of these trilogies that never happen. Rian Johnson's Benioff and Weiss. We've seen movies standalone like Patty Jenkins that didn't happen. The Lando movie.
And people have been asking. I've heard, been watching a few different, things today when in between, getting work done and slacking off. But I've been watching a few different things today, and several people are asking, like, why would they announce this now? What's the reason that they would announce this, like, all, so suddenly? Where did this come from? Guess what happens next week?
Yeah, there's the investors meeting.
Disney earnings call.
Yeah.
Q4. So just like the Rave movie announcement, this is another opportunity for them to blow smoke up investors' asses and say, look at all the things we're making. Yep, sure you are.
Now let's just assume that they actually are going to do it. Maybe this guy's the only one that's dumb enough to take the job.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, he has. You can see. I scrolled down a little bit. He's worked with Lucasfilm before, so he helped in creating the Star Wars Rebels series.
I've still never finished watching it.
I enjoyed Rebels. I did.
There's parts of it.
I did not love it.
There's parts of it that I enjoyed. I think that somewhere in the more later episodes, they started going into some weird things that I didn't know how I felt about.
They did,
going through back and forth through time. A lot of things there. I didn't love some of the ideas that were introduced there, but considering all things considered, if I compare it to all the crap that came out of Disney era, I think that at least there were some decent intentions there. Some ideas I liked. Here and there would be an episode that I liked. I didn't dislike everything, but it wasn't a unified thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was also apparently a consultant on The Force Awakens. I don't think that's quite the feather in his hat that some people.
No, none of this. When I think I was telling, Tom and Script Doctor were kind of arguing about this. About who this guy is and what he's capable of doing. And I suggested to them that, I think the best way to describe him is a well-meaning hack. Meaning he's not like a Rian Johnson, like that he comes with bad intentions, but at the same time, he's also kind of a hack. Maybe he's not as mean-spirited or as annoying, but he doesn't seem like the savior of Star Wars. If you're thinking like we need a guy to come in here and really do something big, I don't see this guy as your best option.
He's got a middle-of-the-road batting average.
Yeah, well, and let's be honest. Let's be honest. As long as KK's still there, it's gonna suck.
Right. I mean, and I was also speaking, talking about that. I think even I saw you, online, Professor. We were, arguing with some people.
Yeah, we were going back and forth in some
This is just,
conversations
she
on
needs to
X.
go. She needs to go. There's no doubt about it. The fact that she's still there is one of the strangest things that I've ever seen in a studio. There's agendas and there's different things, but at some point you got to look at the bottom line. How many years is she just going to be there flushing billions down the toilet? It just doesn't make sense. It's like, I can't think of another job, another person that's held a job after losing so much money over and over again, and still that person gets to keep their job. It's something that I'm trying to think of another case like this, and I can't really think of one.
With the measly profits that they made off of the sequel trilogy, the losses that they saw from some of the other films, including Solo, all of the expense that they've had for these Disney Plus shows, I can't imagine that they've come anywhere close to making back.
Well, there was an article today in Forbes or something like, not that I think much of Forbes, but it's a lady that I guess she's considered a little better there. She basically said that The Last Jedi, and it's an article I think from today, The Last Jedi, they reported that it cost $200 million to make, and it was a huge financial success. Now she discovered that it actually cost $419 million to make. So if it made, let's say, 1.2 or 1.3, whatever it was, billion at the box office worldwide, if it costs like 419 million to make, that's a big deal. That means it wasn't very profitable. And Force Awakens also, I think, costs like $500 million to make. At least that one made $2 billion at the box office. But Kathleen Kennedy's productions are shit shows.
Yeah,
Sorry, Sean.
It's been awful. It's been awful since everything got started there. I mean, it was amusing because there whoever it was I was going back and forth with, they said something about, oh, it's a product and it's supposed to make money, what? And I'm like, just because they made it and it says Star Wars on it doesn't mean I'm gonna pay for it. It needs to be good. And if it's not going to be, because they're basically saying like, well, what do you, would you, KK brought us all these things. They brought us this and that and whatever. And would you give up all those things? And I'm like, yeah, I would.
Yeah,
even
what are they all holding on?
Good things that they made.
They're like, would you get rid of Rogue One? And the truth is, yes, I'd get rid of Rogue One. In order to save the franchise, I'd get rid of all the stuff that they did. There's nothing that Disney did that I can't live without. Do I think Rogue One compared to some of their other crap is probably a little better? Sure. Do I absolutely have to have it? No.
Nope. And the truth is, you could keep Rogue One and throw all the rest of the stuff that they've made away if you really wanted to. But it depends on who ends up owning Star Wars. Maybe Elon. I don't know.
I don't think it's worth it for Elon at this point. It's like, why would you even want to start dealing with it? They've run the thing into the ground.
I know.
They really have. Like, even the prospect of 3 movies, it's like, who cares? Like, and even if you get rid of her, you still have to replace her with someone, and that someone needs to have heart and passion and vision for telling stories in that universe, and like a unique way of doing that. This is nothing in my head. Like I can't see anything in the near future without just like burying it for 10 years and then coming back and dusting it off. I can't see them doing anything in the near future that is worth anything. And it's so saturated with bad product now that there's more crap than there is good stuff in Star Wars at this point, as far as like television shows and stuff.
Yeah, and that's essentially what I said. It was like, I even the good things, I would throw them out to not see this franchise butchered the way that it has been in recent years. I wouldn't have to see The Acolyte. I wouldn't have to see Ahsoka. I wouldn't have to see some of the other dreadful crap like Solo that they made. Like, I would happily take everything Disney has made and throw
Flush
it
it down the toilet.
into the, just disappeared from history.
Or
and
flush
just
it down the toilet.
And just keep the 6 movies that we had before. And
That's
the
all we need.
merchandising that we had before and everything. Yeah, I would gladly throw all those things away if it meant that they didn't just completely shit on this franchise. Sorry, Sean. Sorry.
I'll try to push on.
But yeah, and Disney haven't done anything to justify their existence. There's nothing in those movies that it's like must see. At best, maybe if you didn't hate it, it's like a supplement. But nothing happens there that's that interesting.
No, there's no vision. They've not told a unique story in that universe.
Yeah, I think the closest thing they came to doing something new and something interesting. Obviously, we did have
Mandalorian season 1.
We had Rogue One, which was interesting, but it really was just sort of playing off of our nostalgia for the previous films. It did all right with telling a story. I didn't mind that it was a standalone story. The characters kind of die tragically at the end. That was fine. I didn't mind that. But yeah, I think the only thing that they did that felt original and new was that very first season of Mando.
Which is
agreed.
Which is totally just, this is how Boba Fett always should have been, and George ruined him with the prequels.
Kind of. Well, and then each episode was almost every episode was just an homage to a particular film genre or some particular movie, right? There was they did a Seven Samurai episode.
Oh my God.
They did some other episodes in there that were just total homages to the older films.
I keep telling Bryce and other guys in our chat, we should have a moratorium on the Seven Samurai storyline.
It has been done to death.
To death.
Yes.
I am currently struggling to finish part 2 of Rebel Moon, and it is such a nightmare.
You are a masochist.
Yeah, that movie sucks.
It's so bad, and there's so much slow motion, and like all of these characters that I don't give a crap about, they're now sitting down around a table and telling each other.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Instead of having like some backstory, they're sitting and telling each other their backstory and origin story. It's so awful,
and it's all in slow motion.
So tell me your backstory.
Did you watch that, Professor?
I watched. I've not watched the extended ones. I just can't.
No, I didn't watch the extended. But I watched the regular one. Did you watch?
I did watch the original too, and yeah, this in the second movie, they're just sitting around the table, just like, well, share your backstory with me in a flashback, please.
Yeah.
So they tell their backstory.
And make sure it is in the slowest emotion possible.
Oh, wait! Is it in slow-mo? Is it in slow-mo or is it in extra slow-mo? Because he has levels of slow-mo that he does in these movies now.
Yeah, because they like speed up and slow down and then slow and speed up. And the one stupid woman chops off her arms and puts robot arms on, and I'm like, what purpose does this serve? Anyway, sorry. Star Wars is bleh. And the Mandalorian,
I don't take this seriously. I think this is the same as all those other things that get announced and nothing happens with them.
Yeah.
I think it's nonsense.
I think we're gonna get that Mandalorian and Grogu movie. They're gonna put it in theaters, even though it's gonna just.
Yeah, that one I don't know if it'll do well, but I suspect that really will happen. But all the other stuff they talked about, it's probably not
that one's getting made. That one's going to happen. It should just be a straight to Disney Plus thing. But they're going to put it in theaters because they want a Disney movie in theaters, and it's going to do bad. A lot of people won't have seen the backup to it. They won't have seen the the earlier material. A lot of people are just going to wait to see it when it hits Disney Plus because they know it's going to be on Disney Plus in 90 days anyway, so they're just not going to go see it.
I was largely bored by The Mandalorian. There were like moments that I liked, but that's like everything Disney has done. There's like a snippet or a side character or a little thing, and I'm like, I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
I think that the first season of The Mandalorian was relatively interesting.
Yeah.
I think that the second one you could already tell that they're wobbling, but because of the way it ended, it finished strong, so you kind of forget about the issues throughout the second season. But from the first moment that third season started, complete crap.
Yeah, the first season was real strong. The second season was very uneven. There were some good, very interesting characters and storylines in that second season, but there was a lot of it that was just like, why? What are we doing here? You know, almost like marking time. And then you did get the end of it with really really excellent ending. And of course got every old Star Wars fan in the feels with bringing back Luke Skywalker and seeing him kicking some ass, using the Force, using his lightsaber and destroying all those dark troopers. And then you got the end with him heading off with Grogu, and then the marketing people panicked and said, "Oh, we can't leave Grogu. He can't disappear. We got to bring him back." Yeah, stupid.
I got this. I went to Ollie's, the discount place, and I got this stormtrooper with a flamethrower, and he comes with a Grogu, and I'm like, this is the best set ever because you can set him on fire.
And I think on that very positive note, maybe we can go back. I don't have, because I was booted at because of the internet issue. I think there's a lot of people that were here early on, and I don't have access. Professor, if you can help me with this,
well,
if you can scroll up to the top, and we can do our goodbyes to everybody.
Let's scrolling. Lots of people here tonight. So excited to see everybody. Thanks for being here. And don't forget to leave us a like. And, hey, if you have an account on Rumble, if you subscribe, that would be awesome too. Let's see. Jimmy Nature. Baby eating Biden. Oh my God, what a name. Z-Hammer 55. Superior Nav. Istphobos. Tim Hayes. N30N6R33N. Wow, that was a mouthful. Rumac. Professor R2, thanks for being here. Appreciate you being in the chat.
That's my favorite.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
Guns N' Roses 87, did you say?
Yeah. Did I get that one yet? Let's see. James Caserta, Midnight's Edge After Dark. Tom was here for a little bit, saying hi. Oh, it suddenly just jumped way down on me, so I lost my place. Let's see. Bolija, SWD 40. Price of Reason Live. Also, thank you for being here.
Pleasure being here.
Keep going. Robnod Skubla, The Real Sean Crummell, Joshua Calkins, Tim Hayes. Let's see, keep scrolling here. Still seeing a lot of the same ones here.
Yeah, sometimes there's reruns, but whatever you can do to find some.
Slav Plays Games. Also another one. Thanks for being here. Let's see. There's yep, just said that. Jamalama. Let's see. Z Hammer 55. I think I might have said that one. Yeah, I'm seeing, still seeing a lot of the same names here. T Mumsy. The lovely Jonathan Conroy. If I haven't said your name yet, I'll say it again. You got that great name, Jonathan.
Somebody
Conroy.
here wrote a comment that I just want to address here.
Yeah, pull it up.
Somebody wrote, "Hey, dumbass, they didn't break into the Capitol, they were let in." So first of all, when we did talk about it, we did mention that at least some of the video shows that the police kind of let them in some cases. We definitely
and then in some videos we're clearly like escorting them around the buildings. Very odd. Very odd. There were windows that were broken. There were windows that were broken, doors that were broken.
Which I guess hopefully would mean that we're not dumbasses because we actually mentioned it.
Yeah.
I guess what we were saying is that generally that riot kind of went south, And if there was a way to act differently, I think that would have been the preferred scenario. But at the same time, we did actually mention that there were some questions there as to how they got in and who let them in some cases. So I don't think we ignored that.
Yeah. So yeah, D Deagle 1776, Salty Droid. Oh, it jumped on me again. I hate you. Matt I. Oh, Matt was here. I didn't see that. Hey there, Matt. I think I got just about every Joshua Calkins, some late guy, LI 1990 again with the $5 super chat. Thanks for that. Or not super chat, Rumble rant. Yeah, you know. Same difference, right? That's what we used to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I think I got just about everybody. Are you seeing
And
anybody
if we
else?
missed anybody, we apologize. We also thank the people that sent super chats, like the Dead Man and shoot, I'm tired. Somebody on the YouTube. If you happen to remember, tell me.
Let me punch up fan funding. Istophobos. Yeah, Istophobos sent us 2, and Dead Man.
Oh yeah, that's true.
$2. Yep. See if I see any other. Stephen Mack. I don't remember if I said that one.
I think we did pretty well. I think that, and if we left somebody out, we'll get you next time. We're doing the best we can. I think that on that very positive note, make sure you're also following Professor R2, whether it's on Rumble or on X, and same with Sean Crummell. He has his own YouTube channel. It's called The Real Sean Crummell. He's also on X. Make sure you the comics. If you can do some links, that's good too.
Yeah, I think I sent
and like and follow and subscribe and all that good stuff.
Let's see. Did I find a few more here? Kitty Bear, Monty Furnace.
Jonathan Conroy said, good night, all. Good show. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yeah, it's great seeing all of you here this evening. Great. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Marla Sharondoff here.
Yeah, Marla Sharondoff in Inverse Opinion. Cosgrove. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. If we missed anybody, sorry about that, but glad to have you all here this evening. So
we do our best, but I think that on this very positive note, I think we can kind of wrap up our show today.
Yeah.
So guys, thanks for being here as usual, and thanks to everybody that was watching. And we're here Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11:45 p.m. Eastern. And I guess that means we'll see you here on Tuesday at 11:45 p.m. Make sure, as I said, you're set to be able to get alerts and things like that. So we can all be in communication.
And hey, hopefully we'll have some interesting entertainment news and gaming news and stuff like that to talk about on Tuesday.
That would be great.
Set your VCRs.
Yes.
Set your VCRs, exactly. You're right, Sean. And on that very positive note, I guess we'll say goodbye.
Yes. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you. See you guys. I barely got that. I guess I am tired. I'm like Biden. Anyways, let's check out. Let's see if it works.
Still saying